Special guest today is a personal friend of mine. If you've ever heard of the veteran-owned seasoning company that has just blown up so quickly, Grill Your Ass Off, Jason is the owner here. Jason and I have known each other for I want to say it's been years. Like I remember, we talked when you first. I don't know if you'd first launched Grill Your Ass Off.
I want to say it's 5 years because it was within the first year of launching Grill Your Ass Off. So.
And you've done insanely well for yourself. Like you've built this company from the ground up. It was all of you. Like you, from packaging, shipping, label creation, everything, man, everything. It's been you. You've built this. And so give me a brief description so the audience knows basically your background. And then we're going to get into the whole love thing that we've been talking about prior to the show. We probably should have recorded half this stuff because it was really interesting, but we'd probably get in trouble, but still.
Yes.
You can shift that mic if you want it to work. It's more comfortable.
So started Grill Your Ass Off once I got out of the military. For anyone who cares, I was in the old guard. I was 11 Bravo. Whenever I got out in 2015, I destroyed my left ankle. So I pretty much had the option to re-enlist as a different MOS or medically discharge. I chose the route to medically discharge because really didn't want to have a different MOS. And at that point, I had a botched surgery from a doctor inside the Army, and
say it isn't so.
Yeah,
no way that happens.
And he wanted to do another surgery on me to fix that surgery, and I asked for second advice, and the doctor who works next door to him went ahead and pulled him inside the office as well for their meeting, and everyone was under the same agreements, which ended up not being what I needed. I got out, went to school to actually become a commercial airline pilot in Waco.
I remember you telling me that you actually got your pilot license because you talked about taking me up flying one day, and I was like, you just probably tell this to all the influencers to get in their pants.
No, I actually do have a pilot's license. So I moved to Waco once I got out and started doing the actual pilot training. And then while I was doing that, I ended up getting my ankle fully fixed by a civilian doctor that knew what he was doing.
Go figure.
Yeah. So
go figure.
Yeah, I mean, in that time frame, for Grill Your Ass Off, that was never a thought for me to actually start as I was getting out of the military. Mm-hmm. And it really started stemming down, the roots of it while I was actually in the military. I started doing men's physique competitions. Mm-hmm. Because at the old guard, especially once I had my ankle issues, I went up to S3. And so I would literally get off work every day at 2:30. I'm like, what the hell do I do with my life? So I was just like, all right, well, I already like fitness. I'm going to start working out more. I actually got a part-time job at the Nutrition Corners up there in D.C. that Doug Miller owns. And ironically enough, they carry Grill Your Ass Off there now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I started working out there. And, competing in men's physique because you don't need legs for that. So I couldn't really do a whole lot of leg working out, so that was a good fit.
Oh, my God. I'm going to get blasted in the emails now for people. That's not funny. It's actually, it's true.
Yeah, it is true.
I did one show personally. It's they didn't give a shit about legs.
No.
That's why their board shorts came all the way down past their knee.
Yeah, and I was blessed with calves with good genetics on that, so I was like, I'm good. I don't need quads. I can't really squat with my ankle right now, so we're good. But as you know, dieting down that lane, your food is bland, it's boring as shit. So being in DC, there's no sense of flavor up there. You can't go to the grocery store and buy what we can buy here in Texas. So I would have friends and family send that up to me. And I started crafting things together while I was in the military, and I never thought anything with it because at the time I was like, cool, I'm going to get out, go to flight school, become a commercial airline pilot, and just start flying planes. Well, as I was actually flying and getting my private pilot's license at that portion of college, I was like, dude, this is boring as shit. I'm driving a school bus in the sky.
It's still you're flying though. I get the association, but you're still fucking flying.
It's no different than driving though. And
there is. One's in the air, one's on the ground. What the hell are you talking about?
Right, but it's so heavy regulated, which I get it. It needs to be, which is why there will never be flying cars. But it wasn't fun for me.
Right.
You literally take off in the plane and turn on autopilot and sit there and twiddle your fucking thumbs and make some radio calls. So I'm like,
play some Angry Birds on the phone.
Yeah, it's boring. It was honestly boring for me. I was just like, there's nothing exciting. You've known me long enough. I'm go. Yeah,
you do motocross. You do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super active. So I instantly had that feeling to where hey, it's cool. Yeah, I'm flying, but I'm not getting my needs out of it. And I started remaking seasonings out of the garage, found a manufacturer, had some connections.
I want to get some specifics with you though, because I feel like in a lot of business podcasts and stuff like this, How much investment did it cost up front for you to launch Grow Your Ass Off? What was your investment cost?
So if you go back and actually look at the books in the business, I started the business with $1,100 because that's the only cash I had.
Mm-hmm. So you launched with $1,100. What was your initial purchases?
The initial purchase was I placed one order with my manufacturer who was actually bottling the seasonings for me, so I could legally sell it and not do it out of the garage.
Yeah.
And I had paid that. That was part of the initial investment. And then I ordered labels with the rest of that money. So to have full finished product, we had one demo set up. And I was like, if I sell enough here, I'll make enough back, I'll move forward with this project. The night before the demo, everything had shown up. I got the seasonings unlabeled because timelines didn't work out, so the manufacturer actually couldn't label them. So I was like, just send me everything here. I'll have the labels sent to me. I'll hand label them. There's a miscommunication, 100% my fault, because you got to own it if you're the boss. They bottled everything in the wrong size bottle.
Oh, my God.
So
this is your initial purchase.
Very first fucking thing. I'm so excited. And then they all show up in 8-ounce bottles. They're supposed to be 16-ounce bottles. So I had 16-ounce labels that overlapped all the nutritional information. So that night, I still had my Star card for whenever I
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like a military credit card for people that don't know.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, like, I'm not working. Like I had my firework business still, but
you were doing that on the side. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it was generating cash, but like I wasn't sitting on a fat sack of cash. I just gotten out of the military. I was using the GI Bill and what I had for my firework business, and that's seasonal twice a year. Yeah. So I didn't have a ton of money, and I was like, well, shit, I have a demo tomorrow. I have no labels. What do I do? So I went to Office Depot and I bought Avery shipping labels and the cheapest inkjet printer I could buy, put it on my Star card, and literally printed off all of my product labels on shipping labels that night, labeled it. The next day, I sold everything except for 24 bottles.
What'd you do with that money?
Reinvested it, placed another order, and just put it right back in. I said, hey, I have all these 16-ounce labels now since we didn't use them on the first one. Let's go ahead and get another batch in. We got another batch in. And the Ace Hardware that we actually did the demo at ended up picking up the product. So I was like, at that point right there, I was like, cool, this is fucking easy. Like, all I got to do is just do this at a couple more stores, and then everyone's going to be carrying my product before you know it. I found out really fast it's not how business works. And, like, no one wants to carry your shit because I'm not a reputable brand yet.
Yeah.
So
that's like trying to get into Buc-ee's with Shell Shock. Like even Buc-ee's doesn't touch CBD, but like when you see a lot of these famous chains, unless you're an established brand, they're not going to take a chance on you because they have to worry about purchasing the product and then getting rid of it. And it's just like if they don't feel like they can, they're not going to take a chance on you. It makes it very difficult to do wholesale for a lot of these mainline suppliers.
Right. No, and I found that out very, very fast. So at that point right there, that first demo was October 20th, 2016. And it wasn't until December. I had gotten a couple other stores to buy it, and I had friends and family that were just buying it from me. And at that time, I still had a website on Square Up, the little credit card readers.
Yep, fuck those guys.
Yeah, they I know you love them.
Oh yeah, they held ransom about $50,000 from us. Yeah, Jack Dorsey and the rest of those cocksuckers. Yep.
They used to have a little free website thing on there, so I just made that while I was still in school. And then at that point, after the first demo, I was like, screw all this. So I dropped out of school because I thought everything was going to go great, and then I realized hey, I can't pay my apartment rent. That sucks.
So you start out with $1,100. If you don't mind me asking, what was your last year gross sales? How long have you been in business? What's total years?
5 years.
5 years. Yep. You started out with $1,100. Last year, what did you gross in sales?
$1.3 million.
$1.3 million. And you did that in 4 years.
Yep.
Not counting this. That's incredible. You're one of the very few testaments of veterans that have just done it on their own, figured it out for themselves. You don't have a business degree, do you?
No.
I
dropped out of college twice. So
a lot of the stuff you've researched, you told me you actually pay to go to seminars now. You were looking up on YouTube. You were checking out the internet. You were watching other people. Even your social media presence has grown exponentially because you tapped into the influencer market, and it's worked.
Right.
It's worked for you.
Well, the best investment is yourself. Whether that be school, knowledge, anything like that. No one can ever take away skill sets that you build for yourself.
Right.
So throughout this journey, it's been a very eventful journey. A lot of lows, a lot of highs.
Oh, we're gonna get into that because I know we were talking about some of those romantic lows because with great money comes great thoughts coming after your money.
Right, and so it seems like almost it's like every other day, I find a new skill set that I see someone good at, and I'm trying to figure out how do I get that skill set and how do I become that person of what they're doing in their everyday. So it's applying myself to a certain point to learning that skill set well enough to where I can teach it and then moving on to the next skill set that I need.
How many employees do you have working under you right now?
Currently have 4 full-time employees.
You have 4 full-time employees and you're scaling to that level. And also, how many stores are now carrying your product?
So we're coming up on our 800th store.
Jesus.
That carries it. And our wholesale is actually starting to now outgrow our direct-to-consumer.
You also do business consulting as well because we brought you on and you consulted with us, and then within a span of 24 hours, our sales doubled.
Yep.
Because of basically, and to give people accurate information, it was because Jason came in there and talked about email campaigns and utilizing Klaviyo. And Klaviyo, you taught Sarah about how you can do a lot of the targeted email marketing runs lists and things such as that, which if you don't, people always come to me, it's like, or a lot of these influencers, a lot of these podcasts or these business people, they talk about like this generic bullshit of like, where there's a will, there's a way, motivation, see your future, and they're jerking themselves off. It's like, okay, that'll be $500. Like, so you actually came in here and said, look at Klaviyo. Klaviyo is great for emails, and then we use Just Uno for the pop-ups. We use a lot of different things. What have you used verbatim that any listener that's wanting to launch their own business should look into utilizing? Because you've already made the mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
You've made a lot of mistakes, so it's like, this works.
No, and like on notes, you were talking about like gross sales, 1.3 million last year. That was actually one of my least profitable years that I've had in business because I made tons of mistakes because of the cash flow we had coming in, testing.
Yeah.
So this year, like mark my words, will be our most profitable year, and we are fucking well past what we were last year.
And a lot of that's actually kind of beautiful you say that, though, because that's almost like an R&D on your part, saying, okay, I want to throw some money. It's like calculated risk. It's saying, I'm going to allot myself $10,000, $20,000 this month to try some of this stuff out and see what sticks. It's throwing fiscal shit against the wall and see what sticks and what can increase your sales. So you said you've done that in the past, so now you feel like you've got it more perfected?
Yeah, no, and it's learning the tools and the skill sets to use and how to use them and how to implement them properly.
Give me some of those for the listeners, because I know the listeners are going to want to know.
I mean, first off, like, you can know all the tools, the skill sets, and everything like that, but unless if you know what you want to do, or have a passion behind something, like it's not going to be worth your time. So first things first is Google and YouTube. So many people ask all these fucking crazy questions, and literally you can Google and YouTube everything and find someone who can portray the message that you're looking for 10 times better than you and I could ever have.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, outside, if you're not selling CBD, Shopify.
And that's, to caveat off of that real quick, every business is different. I know Grill Your Ass Off with seasonings, and I got the website pulled up, and you're launching a hot sauce. Like, you've really expanded. But the difference between our business, we are totally different because CBD, Delta 8, things like that, doesn't operate in the same type of space that yours does because you have different rules that apply to you versus us. So it's a lot of like, you can take a lot of actually all the stuff that you've given us, as far as when you come in here and you consult with us, has been actionable because it's programs utilized to plug in, because like we can't use Shopify.
Right.
Shopify will not allow us to do CBD subscription. So we have to use WordPress, which is not a lot of people know how to operate WordPress. It's a very antiquated site. It's good, don't get me wrong. It's like, but Shopify is so much, it's an easier user interface.
Oh, it's amazing.
But you have to understand, like, every business is different. So when somebody comes along and says, here's this one size fits all success path to business, they're full of shit. Like, every business is different. It has the ins and outs, and it's just, people don't realize that. So,
but, and so like, and to that point, you have to stop and think, like, our business, like the backworks and infrastructure and all that kind of stuff is different, but the marketing is the same.
Yeah.
It's providing a customer with an extremely high valuable offer, a quality product, eliminating any time that is necessary for them to get what they want.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really it. Fitting to the person, find their pain points and alleviate it.
So give me some examples of like, so you use Shopify?
Yeah. So like
Shopify, you like that? And then you use Klaviyo for your email campaigns. For those that don't know, like I said, when you came in here, you set us up for that. It doubled our profits overnight. Yeah, it was the understanding. And that wasn't even paid. I mean, we pay for the program, But it's like we take the profits, we invest it into that program. You make that money back in one email campaign like instantaneously. And it made me understand, based upon what you taught us, the importance of having not only just an email campaign, but an SMS one. We haven't even tapped into the SMS one yet. We're still building our list because with yours, like the FCC regulates like a motherfucker. Like we have to have people opt in twice. Sarah runs that. And she briefs me on this stuff. And it's like, fuck the FCC. Like, we cannot just blast out text. They have to opt in and then bless off and saying, yes, we want to receive texts on CBD/marijuana style products. Otherwise, we'll get fined per text.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And like, whenever you're looking at things like at scale, like big numbers, like how many thousands of fucking phone numbers are you missing out on because they didn't sit that second yes?
Yep.
Like, it blows my mind. But like what you're talking about, really what I set up for you is like retention automation flows to be able to keep your customers, because it is so much cheaper.
Go in depth on that, because I know they're not going to understand that.
Yeah, so basically...
and this is through Klaviyo.
Yeah, through Klaviyo. But I mean, if you're looking at the whole entire... one of the best ways to look at business is look at the customer's journey. Their very first interaction with you.
Which you can track through the analytics of the website. Right.
So and you need to break it down just like if you were walking into a store. And I think that's one of the things that helped me so much is my parents bought a failing Ace Hardware whenever I was a kid. And I grew up very low to middle class. And one of the things with Ace Hardware is customer service is key. That's why they're always able to beat out things like Home Depot and Lowe's, is whenever you walk inside of an Ace Hardware, you're instantly greeted and asked what you need, and you have someone there that knows what they're doing and can help you. So I look at anytime I approach a business situation, especially e-commerce, because e-commerce is very hard. It's a website. I look at it as what if I was a customer walking into a store? What would that experience be and how to do that?
User interface.
And then so you have to figure out what's my acquisition cost for that customer's first order? Because that's going to typically be your most expensive cost. Is it costing us $20, $30 to acquire this first customer? If so, what are we selling them? And are we turning a profit? Because a lot of businesses actually lose profits on that first sale. So if you don't have a good retention system to make that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 10th,
I'm glad you said that, because it's not just looking at a one-time purchase from the consumer, it's a lifetime value. And that's why I've learned from that to where it's like, say for example, if a customer has a bad experience with a product, or a product doesn't live up to their standard, I have no problem sending them out another one or a different type, because I want to lock them in for life. I don't want a one-time purchase. I want them coming back to where it's like, Shell Shock's going to take care of me. Grill your ass off. If I don't like this, they're going to send me out another one and say, hey, you know what? You didn't like it? Try this one. Because that's like a small term investment. That's a very small term investment to where, because I've had employees I had to get rid of it because they were such Gestapo. I'm like, no, we didn't fuck up. We're not saying, like, send them another one. Like, I'll eat that cost, because they're going to, number one, they're going to see you actually give a fuck, because they know the product stands up and you actually give a shit about them being your customers.
Right. And that's you hear people like Gary Vee and stuff like that talk about give. And that's 100%. You have to really lose your ego, because whenever those customer messages do come in, that can
the stories I know you could do it. I've had motherfuckers call in, and the only time I will draw the line is when that customer gets disrespectful with my employees and they start name calling, and then I'll get on the line, tell them to go eat a dick.
Right.
It's like, I don't need your business. It's like, absolutely. Because there have been times in the past where if we're wrong, I will, like you said, the ego has to go away. We will admit we're wrong. We will fix it. We will do whatever we have to do to make this right. But when the customer's wrong, I'm going to hold them accountable. Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry. It's like, because the people are going to try and take advantage of it. And you know who's the worst about that? Veterans. And you're agreeing with this. You're over this. You're a veteran too. You fucking know.
You say it first.
I'll fucking say it. Veterans are the worst.
Yeah.
They're the fucking worst. Do you guys have a veteran discount? It's like, no, we've already marked our products down so fucking low, we can barely afford to do that. Well, you don't support veterans. I am a fucking veteran. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and we hire veterans.
And we hire,
we give back, a ton of different stuff.
Absolutely.
Speaking on that, anybody watching, we actually do have a veteran and first responder discount at checkout at grillyourassoff.com. But outside of that plug,
feel free, go for it.
It's funny. You
go Burke, get you 10%. I think it does. I think I still have a code with you.
I'm sure we do. Use your veteran discount and I'll get you 15. No, On the I'm gonna get off the veteran subject.
You're safe here. It's okay. We make fun of ourselves. It's like Dave Chappelle. Yeah. Twitter isn't real. Fuck them.
Yeah. No.
So I don't know.
It's so like pretty much what I did with you. Well, like we were talking on the Klaviyo subject is like email marketing is the cheapest form of marketing that's out there right now, outside of word of mouth.
You're not wrong, because social media, like we were talking about before the show, like Facebook and Instagram, it's impossible for us to run any paid advertisement because the CBD product, which they associate with marijuana, they kill it. They won't let us. And you said even for you, they've made it almost impossible now to run successful campaigns that you can pay for customers.
Yeah, so like we're completely changing our tactics on how we're acquiring new customers. And we can get that, like if you want to go down the rabbit hole on that, we can go down the rabbit hole on that, because like we have some really cool stuff that we're coming out with here soon that we're using Klaviyo for. Like Klaviyo is a lot more of a powerful tool than just email marketing, but that's what they're known for and they're great on. And, it's building out those automations and continuing to target and knowledge the customer past that sale and work your way up to get them to become a lifetime customer. Because if you look at, a lot of people look at time as a not as an asset but as a negative thing. They want an instant $1 million versus like, hey, what if I don't give you $1 million in the first year, but if you just wait 5 to 10 years, you can have $1 million. Like,
people we live in the age of Amazon Prime. We want it now.
Right. And unfortunately with business, unless if you strike gold, which is...
We were blessed. I will admit, that's when people come to me for advice. It's like, we are not the status quo. We did not do what you did. Like, you took a long time because you built it from the ground up to where I'd already had the audience established.
Right.
So our go-to-market was just right off the bat.
Yeah, and
versus you had to, you had to build, and now you're at that level to where you're increased. And that's a game changer. So when people come to me, it's like, how did you do it? It's like, dude, I'm not the status quo. I was the 1% that got lucky. I developed the following. That's why I feel like a lot of influencers are stupid, because number one, they don't have a brain for business. Oh, and I'm not saying I do, but I know who to go to. Like people like you, it's like, this guy knows what he's doing. Bring him in here. Let's learn what he can, and then we'll fucking incorporate that into ours. But there's a lot of influencers that have huge followings, and they're still repping these other companies with a discount code or a link, and you're getting paid 10%. It's like, dude,
it's comfortable.
But what's your niche? Like if you've got a following, learn that following, see what they like, and develop a product to pitch to them that's a good product, and start your business. You've got the brand, or you've got the following. Do it.
And that's the hardest thing, is literally building the following.
It is
the consistent relationship and communication with customers, because it's fucking time consuming.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if I didn't have a team underneath me, like I wouldn't be where we are today.
Yeah.
Like it's
that brings up another good question. I'm sorry that we're sidetracking, but you're bringing up a lot of good points. At what point did you know that you needed to hire somebody?
I mean, hire fast. The business saying is like hire slow, fire fast. But like with hiring, as soon as you think you need someone, you should hire someone, in my opinion. Because
that's going to free up a lot of your time to focus on other things that are going to help expand the business and things such as that.
And the whole entire point of that is, like, as an entrepreneur, you're buying back your time, because the more time you have, the more you can
invest back in the business. Yeah.
Right.
Time investment.
Yeah. So it was really as pretty much I couldn't do everything I was currently doing in a day. Because at that time, whenever we first started talking, hanging out, I had initially started talking to someone about running all of our social media, because I was getting consumed by building the website, doing the email marketing. Back then there wasn't SMS marketing. But, doing all of that, dealing with manufacturers, dealing with ordering products, fulfilling everything. Like I was still doing all that myself out of the apartment. And then I
love that. No, I'm serious. I fucking love that. I mean, that's how Amazon was in a garage. You have these companies, like you literally, because we started Shell Shock at the studio that we did the John Ross skits in, and then I did it in my house.
Right.
And then we moved in here, and it's like, yeah, it starts in a garage. It starts in a fucking bedroom. That's where it starts, and you should. Like, I remember I've worked with so many different companies. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to beef with them, and, God bless them for what they do. But they struck gold instantaneously, and instead of reinvesting back into the business, they were spending it on the appearance of being a big business. It's like, but you're not. It's like, you struck gold one time. Can you repeat that process, and can you sustain that? And they couldn't. So all this flashy shit, they bought a big building, they lost it within 3 months.
Yeah.
They scaled so quickly. It's like, slow down. Let's make sure we can sustain this.
And that's what, going back to building a legit retention system for your customers to achieve that lifetime value. That's what you have to have, because a lot of times they'll fucking build a badass, awesome product. They'll hit just the correct marketing and everything like that. They'll scale super high, but they don't build out their infrastructure and the foundation of the house. They just go straight to building walls and a roof, and the next thing you know, it caves in.
Right. Can you give me some examples of that as far as like building out the infrastructure?
A lot of people, what we were just talking about is like they're so focused on just getting that initial purchase.
Right.
Buy my product, and not providing any value to the customer. Because at the end of the day, the customer is what's keeping our lights on. It's allowing how we can do this podcast.
Right.
We can hire people. We can we can do all these things and continue to create amazing new product. And if you're not continuously putting that value back to the customer, then you're going to lose customers very fast.
Can you give me some examples of how you can provide value to those customers beyond just the purchase of the initial product? And you do a lot, because I've seen you. We took a lot of our lessons from you, and you do a lot to bring that value to the purchase to the customer.
I mean, a lot of it's just product knowledge. Say somebody hops online and they just buy a bottle of seasoning from me. Like every Tuesday and Saturday, we send out recipes, like long form, short form recipes. Free. I mean, just literally sign up for our newsletter. But not only that, depending on which order cycle that customer is on, we're going to send them a different post-purchase marketing system to teach them about that product or reward them because they've hit a certain point within our business. We feel like, hey, you've earned status with Grill Your Ass Off for being an amazing customer. We're going to reward you.
Yeah. So that's the part of give back. Like you actually give them free products sometimes.
Yeah. And totally. Like we had a campaign that we ran last year that was super successful. I took everyone that had never had our all-purpose seasoning, and we made a few thousand samples, dropped it in the mail, and just delivered it to the customers with no heads up.
Now, the reason I want to get specific on that is because I feel a lot of people think that, so when you make a sample, and I'm not trying to pry too much into your business here, how much does it cost you to make that sample?
Typically, depending on it will say on average about 25 cents.
Okay, 25 cents. How much is the product as a whole minus the sample, the actual product as a whole? How much does that cost?
For them to buy?
Yeah.
You're $11.99.
Okay, so you're sending out 25 cents and hopefully upselling them to where they like it to an $11.99 product. So essentially you are spending money to make money.
Oh, 100%.
We've done the exact same we modeled it from you to where it's like people were worried about, like, we don't know if Delta 8's going to work. It's like, well, let's create sample packs. Let's send them a $5 sample pack of 2 or 3 gummies, because to me, and the thing I love about Shell Shock is like, we're fucking drug dealers. Yeah. We're drug dealers. I was like, get it in their hands, let them try it, let them see that it works, and they're going to come back and want more. Because they have to understand the product does work. And because people don't want to take a gamble, especially right now during inflation, on a $40 or $50 product to where it's like, I don't know if this is going to work because I've had a lot of bad experiences with snake oil shit, things like that. It's like, try it. Just try it. And once we started doing that, we went to these fitness expos. We walk around, like we have FitCon coming up here. Rob Bailey and Dalen Bailey, they host that. And I think it's over in Fort Worth. This year, we're going there with thousands of free samples, and we're handing out rack outs and Delta 8 left and right. Because as soon as we did it last year, number one, the foot traffic increased like drastically here at our storefront in Richardson. And then our e-commerce, we saw a massive uptick in sales as well. So it's like, spend a couple hundred, spend a couple thousand, because you're going to make more than that back on the back end of that.
Right. And like on that, like we're no different. Like we're a drug dealer for sense. Like we want the product in that person's hands so we can get them hooked on the flavor. Yeah. Because
your stuff is tasty. Like that's the thing. It's like people think it's like another bullshit. You know, your shit is actually, and then your salts, fuck me running. I think the salts are my favorite because every time I grill, I always tag you. And like we're in Texas, everybody grills here. And I always use your charcoal seasoning. And I'll rub the steak down. Everybody's like, did you fucking burn it? Like, what the fuck is that shit? It's like, go try it. Shut your mouth and go fucking try it. Because what I love about that is that I set my freaking my pit to like sear mode, and I'll slap it on there, and that charcoal activates and it burns the shit out of it, and it sears it on both sides, and then it slow cooks. And I'm telling you, every woman that I've had over to my house, the way into her panties was giving her a nice juicy steak that was seasoned by Grill Your Ass Off.
You're welcome for that.
Yeah, dude, I got laid so many times because of you. God bless you.
Like I want to put out a customer survey and just see like who else is in this book?
Who got laid because of this dude's seasonings?
That needs to be like one of those infomercials.
Hey, I'm John Burke. I'm just drowning in pussy over here. Thanks, Grill Your Ass Off. And this is why we'll never be on Fox.
Yeah. They've declined me a lot.
Fuck those nerds.
Even Steve Harvey. I know you have a box of ass at your house because I packed it. Yeah, no. And speaking of that, like having a good product, that's key, because like you can do all the marketing until the cows come home and get that initial product into the customer's hand, but over time, if you have a bad product, that will show.
Yeah,
and that
you get one shot.
Right,
you get one shot, because we've done the same thing to where when we're going to manufacturers wanting something done, if it does not live up to our expectation, we won't release it. Mm-hmm. It's like, because all it takes is you do one bad release, you've lost consumer confidence. Oh, you can't do that. Or if and here's the thing, sometimes CBD doesn't work for certain people. So it's like, if it doesn't work, hit us up. We'll send you something else to try, because it's hit or miss. I mean, majority of which it works, but there are some people that are CBD tolerant. So it's like they get a bad taste, like, okay, well, let's try this. And then they're like, oh no, that actually works. Yeah. So it's kind of like, but you're 100% right. Like that product you can't just slap a label on some bullshit, say it's veteran owned and expect it to do well.
Right. And t-shirts. Sorry.
We're just making all kinds of enemies today. Fuck it, whatever. Looking at you, Grunsta, now. I don't give a fuck. Fuck those nerds.
No, because like, again, like if you look at time as an asset versus a negative, like if you have a good product, literally all you could do is sell to one person, and that one person's word of mouth will build you a business over time. Yep. And that's where, retention comes in so much, to where whenever, like now we just implemented a new system for a whole entire new, we have a brand new referral campaign. Yep. And then as well, we have a brand new, loyalty system, to where we have points now on the website. And we're investing into more retention offers outside of just the text message.
It's the same as like the marketing. Starbucks shit, like the clicker for every coffee. It's the same principle, and it makes sense, because it incentivizes them to come back and do return purchases, because eventually, you're saying you're upselling is like you're get a free whatever. And I remember in the past you also sent out, you started, and this is the other part of social media that I want to get into with you. You started Facebook group. Yep. Of the grill masters or pit masters.
Yeah, we have Grill Your Ass Off pit masters.
And you actually have a decent sized group that you push recipes. You have a direct consumer group that I think a lot of businesses forget to actually utilize. It's like, you've got to have a Shell Shock has one. I did that from day one. It's like, you've got to have a direct consumer. But then I started learning from you, email's better.
Right.
Get them in the email.
Well, so like one of the things that we actually implemented on this, and it's gotten very hard to do with Facebook, but actually the way into that group
is to put your email. Yeah.
We offer people, hey, do you want to try a sample pack? And normally we sell a sample pack for $14.99. You're getting 7 different flavors of seasonings in there. Like, it's a good value. Yeah. And we'll offer them that sample pack at a stupid low price for their email. And then now we get their email, we get them their sample pack, and then now we've hooked them on not only our website, our email, our product, our Facebook group. So like now you're consumed with Grill Your Ass Off. And that group is amazing, because there's, we have like 7,000-8,000 people in there that are all cooking, posting recipes, and
it's self-run, it's self-sustaining. Yeah.
And now it's self-sustaining. I mean, it took about a year and a half to get self-sustaining. And then once we had that, I looked at, how do we implement this to better our customers long term? And then that's whenever we started Grill Your Ass Off Elite Pit Masters, which is basically...
You were sending out certificates too.
We still are.
You still are. That's
so
awesome.
A lot of other businesses call that like VIP customers. And a lot of businesses have bastardized that term, VIP customer. It's just like, oh, well, hey, like you spent a lot of money with us, here's 20% off for the rest of your life. We take that a step further. So like whenever you do reach Elite Pitmaster status, we send you a free care package. And that care package is a $54 value. You get a certificate, you get a custom, I'll say mystery gift, because I'm not going to give it away. If anyone wants to be an Elite Pitmaster, keep on buying.
That's smart.
So you get a mystery gift inside there. We're going to give you a $10 gift card to go back and buy on the website. We have challenge coins now. You get access to our Grill Your Ass Off Elite Pitmasters Facebook group, which is even smaller, with guys like literally posting their breakfast, lunch, and dinner in there every single day.
And these are like pro cookers too. Like these guys know what they're doing.
And
that brings value to it as well, because we're just, and 100%. Actually, before I forget, you even did a cookbook.
Yeah.
I think you've done like 2?
No, just one. We're working on the second one. I'll tell you the name off air, because it's really good. It involves our favorite 2 numbers in there as well.
Attaboy.
Yeah. So, but with the elites, like what we've done, and you were at the party last year for the elites. We took over the tribe's headquarters and threw a party for.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For our elite.
I was like, I don't remember grilling. I was like, yeah, we were.
But with that, one of the things that we implemented earlier this year that's been like hugely successful is like once you've reached that elite pitmaster status, we've actually given them what we call the elite portal inside their account page on the website. And it's a whole entire hidden website inside of Grill Your Ass Off that they can buy elite only gear.
See, we're doing the same thing with Shell Shock.
We do, if we're having a sale, they get early access to the sale. If we're launching a product, we do it 2 weeks in advance to where the elites buy it. And then we get direct feedback from
them,
our top % of customers to where they say like, hey, this shit sucked whenever it showed up at my house because of the way you packaged it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. Thanks for the feedback. We're going to send you another one for free. And then we can turn around and fix that whenever we go direct to consumer.
It's like instantaneous feedback. It's smart.
So
we're doing the same thing with Shell Shock to where I'm glad you said that, to where now the one thing I've also learned is I used to work for this one supplement company who they're great, they're awesome, but they saturated their brand with too many sales. They were running sales left and right. And the problem with that is that people are not going to buy because they're going to stand by for a sale. So they're never going to buy full price. So the one thing that we're doing away is we're going to stop the sales, except for like seasonal ones, like Black Friday, fireworks, 4th of July, basic holidays, we're going to run sales. But we're doing the same thing. We're getting it set up right now to where it's going to be, you have to be a subscriber. And if you're a subscriber, you're going to get access to a portion of the website that's going to actually have really good merch. We have these shakers, we have the coffee mugs, we have a lot of other stuff we're actually coming up with, and some stuff for the Lost Savages, like specifically for them that they're going to fucking love. But only subscribers get access to it, and they get discounts on it. And the reason behind subscribing is kind of like we're also going to give them a 20% off first time buy code, and then after that it remains 10% off. And if you have an order of over like 150, you get free shipping. If over a $300 order, you get free next day air delivery, to where it's like it adds value. It's like, you can stock them, you can do 3, 6, 12 months, whatever you want to do. But it's 100%, you just said, upsell them to the next level, saying, being that you're such a loyal customer, you're getting access to this other stuff.
But you're upselling and providing the value.
Exactly, yeah.
To make
it's not just like taking their money, it's saying you're also getting you're saving money by, 100%.
Right. And that's, so we did something similar to that. So we have our elites, which is it's our top 4% of our direct-to-consumer customers.
That's insane.
And if you look at business, your top 4% of your customers typically bring in about 60 to 64% of your total revenue. So if you stop and think about that,
that's a big chunk.
4% of your customers are paying for 60% of every, that's a lot.
You better take care of them.
Damn straight. So we've built that out, and one of the things, and you can actually get a discount for your Shell Shock order, we started partner perks. So all of my favorite businesses that we've worked with over, this 5-year journey, we've reached out to them. And now inside that elite portal, or if you're an Ass Club subscriber,
I didn't know about this.
Similar thing. That's a newer thing that we came out with.
I love it.
So if you're subscribed to our product, you'll actually get access to our partner perks. So then you can get discounts to, like Shell Shock CBD, Combat Comb Over, Combat Flip Flops, all the other.
I'm showing them your website right now. Keep talking.
So you're able to do that, and it's just providing that much more value to the customer because they're the ones that
they support you.
They 100%. So
looking at your fire sauce, this is the Fire Chief hot sauce. You actually, all right, you told me to taste this live. Now I've already told Jason I'm a bitch when it comes to hot sauce. I'm not in the Army. This is your seasoning. Like, it's hot sauce on everything because the Army's food tastes like shit. So you have to put hot sauce on literally everything.
No, and for everyone watching, we're talking about business, building a good product, everything like that. The first batch of hot sauce that I ever made for this product to plan to launch it was in February of last year.
So you've been working on this for a while.
For over a year.
I'm not sure I'm the one that you want testing this live on the air because I'm a bitch.
No, the reaction is what's going to.
All right, there we go.
It's really not hot. It's a mild spice hot sauce. Jack Mandeville drank it out of the bottle.
Jack Mandeville's a beast, though.
He's not. He's a pussy whenever it comes to hot. Oh, my God.
Okay. No, that's not bad. That's actually, okay, there it is. Nope, never mind. Hold on. Oh, fuck me.
It's an enjoyable heat for anyone like
it is. It's not too bad. There's a good quality taste there. It's almost a little tangy. It's almost like a little, do I detect almost like a wing sauce a little bit?
Similar to that.
It's good, though. It's good.
Coming out.
I'm like, my sinuses are sweating. Fuck me.
But
it's good.
And that's the thing, like, for
I like
us,
that.
For our baseline products, we want it to be very good and consumable by the general public. So I didn't want to make it to where it's
too much,
bleeding hot, which we'll probably come out with that at one point. But I wanted something that everyone could enjoy.
Yeah.
It
wouldn't be because we did the same thing with Delta 8 to where it's tiered system to where we have the 25 milligram. We're launching a 50 milligram gummy, and then we have the dark matter, which is like 100 milligrams per tincture, to where it'll put you in orbit. Because people were hitting us up the same thing, to where it's like most people can handle half to a full 25 milligram gummy. Me, I can only do 25. But we had some hardcore stoners that were hitting us up saying, I need something stronger. It's like, I got you, fam. Yeah. Went back to our manufacturers, like, what's the strongest you guys can do? And like, what's the strongest you can take? It's like, let's do a 3,000. I was like, all right. So we did that. And it's a high-end product. It's a $250 product. It's going to fuck you up.
I don't understand how people can like live. So,
I did it one time. I did it one fucking time on a stream because I'm an idiot. And everybody's like, oh, do a shot. I was like, all right, I'll do a shot. Well, I thought it was a demo one. It's the crystal skull here, right here.
I like the
packaging. So we have, the branding on this is like, I love the style of it, because the skull is just, it's sexy as hell. Multiple different colors. You can collect them all. Little Pokemon. Gotta get them all. So we have demos that we just fill with water to do photo shoots with, so we don't waste product. So I thought that's what I had at my house. I was like, all right, I'll do a shot. Oh, big fucking deal. And so I can't fake being stoned. So I did the tincture, and then I went to my fridge real quick, and I popped a gummy. The tincture was real. I took in 125 milligrams of Delta 8. You want to talk about just laid out on the couch, seeing the outer heavens. Like, I swear to God, I saw the Milky Way. Music sounded so good. Like, food was amazing. I was ordering, like, ice cream from Sonic. I was like, dude, this is great. Never again. I was stoned for like 24 hours. I couldn't do anything. Yeah. I couldn't go anywhere. I was gaming. I was chilling, but I can't drive right now.
So the first time I got stoned was actually with you last year, since I was 14, and you gave me half a Delta 8, and I was like, rack the fuck out. So now, like, because a lot of times, like, I have ADHD like fucking crazy, and like I'll get on like a work high, and next thing I know, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, fuck, I need to go to bed, and then wake up, and like just get all like, once I go down a rabbit hole, it doesn't end. So Delta 8 actually helps me sleep, because a lot of times, like, I'll force myself to go to bed and then wake up 2 hours later, and then just go right back to work. And like, not to like, John's product is absolutely great. Like, most nights I have half of a Delta 8 gummy just so I don't have that happen, and I can have better quality sleep. Yeah. So I had a friend come over in town, and she brought some another person's Delta 8 over, and they were gummy worms. And on the bag, I just kind of quickly looked at it, and it said like 100 milligrams, and there was 10 gummy worms in there. I'm like, cool. So it's like 10 fucking milligrams of gummy. So like, I ate a gummy worm, she ate a gummy worm, we went and sat down on the couch, and like, we were watching a comedy, and like, next thing you know, it's like everything kind of like started like kind of getting like slow-mo and shit like that. And like, so I have my hands out like this on my recliner, and like, I go to like move my hand, and I'm like, why can't my hands move?
You took in 100 milligrams.
Yeah. And then I'm like, why are my lips numb? Why can't I feel my lip? And I was like, I can't feel my feet. And I was just like sitting there like,
Delta 8 works.
Can't move. And I'm like, I don't like being this high. Like,
the problem is there's a lot of companies that will spray the gummies. Ours are actually injected. So you're getting a good amount that's spread out, because it's cheaper for most companies to do that, to where it's like you said, the product's got to be good. So sometimes you'll get good gummies and you get bad gummies. With us, you're getting a good gummy every single time. It's not going to matter, because they're all literally infused. But it's true. Like, people were skeptical. I was skeptical of Delta 8. I was like, I don't think this. I was skeptical of CBD.
I was. You know, you started getting into this. And like, even whenever you first got into it, I'm like, CBD.
I talk shit about it. Like, I did. I was like, CBD's bullshit. It's just because I didn't fucking know.
Yeah.
I didn't really research the industry. And then I actually tried it. I was like, oh, this is good. This is real. And people, like, it's still on my Facebook all the time. She's like, CBD's nothing but a scam. And I'll screenshot our month in sales. Like, dude, we cleared 200 grand in sales this month. You're telling me a scam is going to make those kind of sales residually. Please explain how that works, because I'm pretty sure if I was a scam artist, there'd be Google reviews out the ass, trashing my company. It would be all of it. But instead, we get nothing but positive reviews. So just based solely upon that. And then also you can go look up like the Harvard Scholar articles. You can go look at all the research on CBD and see the shit actually works for most people, and especially Delta 8. But it's just one of those things that goes back to, and as far as the consumers go, get it in their hand and let them see for themselves.
100%.
Eat some cost a little bit, and because I'm telling you, once they see it works, dude, the reviews or the messages we get about cancer patients, people dying that are terminal, and they're taking our Delta 8 because it alleviates pain, and they're feeling fucking great. And I hate to say it, but as they're dying.
Yeah.
like these messages, they don't even surprise me because we've received thousands, especially in the veteran community.
And that's the kind of shit, like whenever you get that feedback, like as a business owner or even as an employee for that business, like those messages are what keep you fucking going.
Yeah, absolutely.
They make you fucking feel good on the inside. Like it's lightning. Like we have it to where guys will be like, they'll send us in a message and be like, hey, I saw your bottle of Ma Deuce like at the store on the shelf. Yeah. And I immediately called my buddy I was overseas with, and then like
because they feel connected to you. It's like they helped you launch. They're just like, yeah, that's their brand, that's their company. They feel invested in that. We have like a
70-year-old lady that works out at the gym with us, and she came up to me the other day. She goes, I ordered off your website and it came in, and my husband saw it, and he was in Nam, and I started like pulling it out, and I'm like, oh wow, these all have weird names. And she was like talking about Willie Pete, and then her husband starts like cracking up. And I was like, that shit is like why we do it.
Yeah.
Because like we can make that connection with a veteran, a first responder. I mean, Fire Chief Hot Sauce, that was our first like actual product venture into the first responder world, and we'll have more coming. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you noticed on his helmet, it actually says Chief Ass and 69 for the...
Oh my God, it does. Yep. Yep.
So we had to, put veteran humor, and he's got a golden wiener. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into the design.
I'm running on 1 hour of sleep right now, so you'll forgive me for not noticing all these small little intricate details that actually make this really, really fucking veteran style. I love this, but it's a great product. I'm still sweating a little bit. It's an amazing, and it tastes good. This is not something that's like, I don't even know I'm not a big Tabasco user, so it's like, this is good. Like I would use this.
Thank you. That's a lot. I've known John for a while, and he is a bitch whenever it comes to hot things and certain foods.
Yeah.
So,
you still to this day have made the best marbleized bacon I have ever had. When you came over to the apartment years ago and we actually grilled it, dude, I have never had, like, that's when I knew. It was like, he's the chosen one. He's the grill master. We've heard stories of this. Like Jason also, for those that don't know, he also grills. This guy is amazing at grilling. He's great.
And that's like, we were talking about skill sets and learning skill sets and acquiring them earlier. I wasn't always a griller.
No.
Like, I cooked shit growing up just because I kind of enjoyed
doing it. Cooking, but then there's actually knowing temperatures and stuff like that.
That's all shit I learned with the business.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't like some expert fucking meat master and shit like that. I mean,
yeah, you were.
In certain aspects, but not on the
Yeah,
grill.
you were.
I was never able to cook bacon like that before I started
Really?
Grill Your Ass Off. Yeah. Whew. No, that's all shit. I'm like, once the product started kicking off, I'm like, well, fuck, I need to be a master of this if I'm actually going to sell the product.
Yeah.
And that's where it came. And like, that's one of the things, like one of our most recent guys on the team, Paul, we call him Pitmaster Paul. Like he was one of the guys who was always posting us on Instagram and like, dude, I love your fucking product. And he's like creating this crazy, amazing stuff. And I hit up James. I said, reach out to him, see if he wants a job. And now, into this year, he's actually leaving New York and moving to Texas.
Hell yeah.
So like,
that's awesome.
And it's amazing to be able to have that, because now like we have someone who is close, if not better than me at cooking.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we want. Yeah. Hand the torch over to somebody else, and that way it frees you up. We have the same thing to where people, like when they post about us a lot that aren't ambassadors, they're actually out there like they're giving us great reviews. We'll reach out and we'll send them free stuff. It's like, hey, thank you for that. Like, because you're going to help us make other sales. Here's another order of what you wanted. Like, it's just thank you, because it's just, again, it's investing in that customer, because we appreciate that stuff.
And that'll turn into word of mouth, and then that word of mouth will fucking grow exponentially.
What are some of the hardships you faced as a business owner as you've scaled? Huh?
Everything.
Give me some examples, because I know where this. You know where I want to lead this into.
Right. In business itself, like growth eats cash flow. Mm-hmm. So one of the hardest things, like being a bootstrapped company, is it's been 100% like what's in Grill Your Ass Off, outside of like, turning to a bank and being like, hey, we need a short-term loan to be able to buy inventory, which we've had to do that, like getting ready for Black Friday and everything like that. And like I was saying, like last year and even rolling into this year with the supply chain shortages, everything being out of stock, and then our wholesale growing at the speed it is. A lot of people don't know, like whenever consumers buy for their business, they're buying on typically net 30 to net 90 terms, meaning that whenever you buy the product from me, I don't get money for that product until 30 days after it's been delivered, up to 90 days, depending on the contract that we have. And we're selling it typically at Keystone pricing, which is half the price of what the retail price is. So we're not making that much profit on it. We're moving, 100x the volume of inventory that we do to direct to consumer, but you have to be able to float that amount of cash. So like literally, your business a lot of times is running in the negative, and it's just like, and you keep on adding on. So that's been the hardest thing here recently for me.
And I know people are going to counter that with, why are you allowing them to do the net 30, net 60, net 90? Because a lot of these smaller startup businesses can't afford. They have to still liquidate some of that product to get that money to pay you back.
Right.
Which that's a complexity of business a lot of people don't realize when you get into that aspect or that area of business. Like, it's because then there's gonna be some businesses they'll skimp on you. They'll try and skip.
No, and straight up, like, so whenever I first started, I want to say this was like year 2 of business. I won't name who it is, but we had a
please do. Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
Call them out. No, I'm good.
We had a hardware store that had bought my stuff. They'd been carrying it for a few months, and they had placed an order. And I think
how big was the order?
Like $180.
Okay.
They were on a net 30. About 120 days after the product had been delivered, emails, phone calls, all that kind of stuff. Couldn't get anyone to pay. I drove all the way across Houston, walked inside their door, pulled my product off the shelf, and started walking out. And the ladies at the cash register started freaking the fuck out, called the manager out, and then within 5 minutes, I had a check in my hand.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean,
luckily that was local though, because I mean, across the country, what are you gonna do?
Right, and that's one of the scary things. And like, unless if you're taking them to like small business court or something,
which you're gonna pay so many legal fees.
It's not worth your time.
It's not.
So
that's what I hate. That's what I fucking hate is the legal system when it comes to business. That people just sue them. It's like, no, there's so much that goes into that, like legal court costs, lawyer costs. You know, do you want to invest the time, the stress? It's like half the time, it's like, no, I don't.
Yeah, and that, like, you have to weigh your options at that point, being a small business, because you're not a giant business that, hey, our attorneys are 2 doors down, go talk to them.
Yeah. Like, God, I can't wait for that. We're gonna hit that level to where we have attorneys in house. Like, hey, Bob, sue the fuck out of no.
Yeah, no. Goals,
yeah.
But yeah, that's, you have to balance who you're doing that with. Mm-hmm. And I mean, a lot of times, like, for anyone listening who actually like cares, like, that's in that situation of growing and like, do I give this person, do I not? Ask them for a credit sheet. Mm-hmm. And then literally call the people on the credit sheet and you'll find out real quick. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times what happens whenever you're like, okay, yeah, you want to be on that 30 terms, I need you to sign this contract, and then as well I need you to provide me a credit sheet, and then on that credit sheet have like 3 of their suppliers. Pick up the phone and call their suppliers. That'll give you A, an answer, or B, a lot of times whenever I send them that, they're like, oh, hey, can we just pay with a credit card today? I'm like, cool, thanks.
Yeah, that solves it right there.
Yeah. So that,
and you've also had troubles in the past protecting your brand. You've had people trying to come after your stuff or trying to rip your stuff off. Because remember,
100%.
Yeah,
we've had to go after legally a handful of people. I won't name any names or things like that.
Yeah.
But
I got it. Same thing. We got accused. There was some dude. He was a famous wrestler. He DMs me. He's got like 1 million followers. He's like, hey, you need to change your name from Shell Shock. He was like, because it's the name of my pre-workout. I was like, we're not in the same class.
Yeah.
I was like, so no, I'm not. I was like, absolutely. But he tried flexing on him. He's like, no. I was like, well, my lawyer's going to send you a cease and desist. Like, tell your lawyer to suck a dick. I don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. I was like, you can literally pull up the classes. It's like, we're not in the same class. You cannot, we're good. And people have tried that with me before. And it's like, they will try everything under the sun. It's like, you cannot copyright a fucking name.
Right.
Like or a word, rather. Excuse me. I mean,
yeah,
that's what this dude had tried doing. So it's like, we did have to retain legal counsel early on because like we were going to run into these issues, and you need to have a lawyer that knows what the fuck he's doing to where you can just hand this issue over to them, and that's going to alleviate a lot of stress. Now ours charges, I forget what it is, it's like $100-something an hour, but at the same token, it's a lot of peace that he brings and a lot of eliminating headaches and potential lawsuits. You know, he's doing the verbiage for the website, making sure that we actually had an incident to where I really don't fucking care if that's like pisses him off, but this lady emails us. If you go on the Shell Shock CBD website, the first thing that pops up is, are you over the age of 21? When you hit yes, that's legally signing a document saying, I am over the age of 21. If you are not, you are lying. That's not on me. So our lawyer set this whole thing up. It's where it's foolproof. It's like, you guys are protected. It's like, if anyone tries anything. This mother writes us and says, my 15-year-old son, I don't know why she sounds like a grandma, but in my world she does.
I like it. With it.
Yeah. It's a grandma. You know, she's like, my 15-year-old son bought some Halo gummies from your website using Cash App, and he took it and he got high and he couldn't move. We took him to the hospital. They said he was fine because he was high, but it scared me. What are you doing to ensure that this doesn't happen? And I'm like, wait a minute. We don't. You have to have a credit card. It has to be linked to a bank. Yeah. I was like, your son got a hold of a credit. So we pulled this stuff up. The son stole the credit card, made the purchase. So we wrote back saying, maybe you should be better at being a mom. Be a better mom and monitor what your child's doing than blaming us. Mm-hmm. We offer a product and a service. What do you want us to do? Yeah. Like send in a stool sample, a blood sample? It's like, yeah, I don't want kids taking this 100%. But we live in an adult world. So if you can't handle your little shithead, don't blame me for you being a shit parent.
Yeah, that's her not being accountable for
100%. It's like your son can't just make a purchase with funds out of the ether. He has to have a credit card somewhere.
Right.
What do you want us to do? And that's the thing that just really blew my mind. But those are like some of the stories that we get. And we're like, what the fuck? Like there are stupid customers out there. Well, they weren't they were an accidental customer. So I was kind of like, so does this mean you're not going to purchase anymore? Did your son like it?
Did he hit the subscribe button? Because he would have gotten 20% off. It's a great
Is he going to be some THC? I mean, they're fine. Like it doesn't bury brain cells or anything. It just got high.
Yeah, so on that, on the accidental customer.
Fuck you and your kid.
We have amazing stories from all these crazy customers over the years.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say anything in case they are still customers. So I know this guy was an accidental customer in the peak of the lockdown in 2020. We get an email from a guy that says, hey, I bought a 5-pound bag of gunpowder to reload my ammunition.
I remember you telling me this.
And I can't reload my ammunition because it's seasonings. And like, I stopped. And it's like, you have to think. He went to grillyourassoff.com, clicked on seasonings, clicked on big ass bag of seasoning, clicked on gunpowder, big ass bag of steak and brisket seasoning, then go through the whole entire checkout purchase of grillyourassoff.com. Then received a email from grillyourassoff.com notifying him of the order confirmation. Then all the tracking, like.
At what point did you not think that you're running a seasoning site versus an actual gunpowder site or a ammunition site?
Yeah. So, and like to provide great customer service. Hey, like if it's not open, like sure, return it.
Yeah. No, he actually tried.
Oh yeah.
He did, like on the bag.
Yeah. It says steak and brisket seasoning.
That's, here's the thing that's fucked up. We're laughing. This is true.
Oh, no.
You have to, and that's why people wonder, is like, why are you so bitter all the time? I deal with fucking retards on a daily basis. God bless them. They give us their money, but fuck, some of them are stupid like that. And I'm not talking about when they have generally questions like, no, that's fair. Like, yeah, absolutely. We're talking about people. It's like, well, what does CBD do? It's like, it's literally on the website. You can Google it. Like, why would you ask us that? Because of course, any company is going to lie to you to sell you their product. Go to a third party and look that up. I shouldn't use that example because it's a legit example, but they would ask us just other stupid questions as far as like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. It was like that kid bought some stuff, and we've had other things outside of just even the CBD industry that you're just sitting there, you're just kind of like, in what world did you think this was a good idea?
Yeah.
Or where did you get that assumption?
We had to tweak the label on gunpowder because it used to say warning extremely flammable.
Yeah.
As like a joke to put on it. And then we had people like writing in like, hey, I have a gas stovetop.
Well, that's fair enough though, because that's one of those things you just don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah. So
I get because it's not actual gunpowder.
Right.
But at the same token, it's like, is this seasoning flammable though?
But we do have people who write in asking if it's actual gunpowder.
Yeah.
And then like, they see, oh, it's got activated charcoal in it. They're like, so it'll cleanse out my stomach. Just like, but
yes, it does, and you can actually do a facial wash with it.
You're talking about like CBD, like in the media's narrative has like brainwashed people so much. It's the same thing. You were talking about all the Harvard studies, and like there's so much stuff out there that disproves all of this, but there's a media narrative, and then people have bonded to this saying. It's the same thing with MSG. It's clinically impossible to be allergic to MSG. All MSG is a faster form of an amino acid, just like salt, that goes inside your body.
Yeah.
And it all stemmed from literally one article like back in the day that a doctor wrote because he got a headache after eating Chinese food that had MSG in it. And like it fucked the whole entire seasoning world from that point forward. And
you got to go back and re-educate people.
Yeah, you got like Uncle Roger on fucking YouTube, making MSG famous again.
Yeah.
So
I get it, because there's a lot of those fitness fads that they'll come in there and they'll talk about, because science changes. COVID. Science changes, and people, it's kind of like back in the day when I worked with various supplement companies, there was branched chain amino acids, BCAAs. Well, now science has said you actually don't need them.
Right.
Like it's not actually doing anything for you. But people still are pushing it, and people are still buying it, and the literature is there for you to actually go read and say, oh, this makes sense. But people, like you said, they latch on and bond to something, and it's almost like a placebo effect.
No, 100%. And that's one of the things that like I've always been curious about the supplement industry because I definitely did go down that fucking rabbit hole of like, oh, I got to have, glutamine and citrulline and creatine and all that kind of shit. And then like you stop and you think it's like, it's in the name, supplement. Yeah. What is a supplement there to do? It's there to supplement what you don't get in your diet. Yeah. And if anyone actually cared about their health and like working out, they would fix their diet first. And then if they were, deprived in a certain thing, then use the supplement for it.
We're actually, I don't know if I told you this or not, we're actually expanding Shell Shock. We're going beyond CBD. We're about here in 2 months launching basically a holistic based style of health. It's vitamins and gummies, vitamins and minerals that are naturally occurring. And be like, what makes you any better? It's like, we're not. It's just we're going to have a better price and you're supporting a brand that you can trust. Yeah. And the quality of the product is going to speak for itself as far as content. And we're going to have, I think we're having apple cider vinegar gummies. We're going to have elderberry gummies. We're going to have all these things and you can also give them to your kids. It's like, think of Flintstone vitamins in gummy form that you can give to your children as well. And we're already testing it. We're already taking it. I'm telling you, it works. These are amazing. It's kind of like if you don't get it in your diet, which I don't, because I don't eat enough. Right. I'm bad about, I will admit I am bad about that. So supplements always work for me because like, I never came close to hitting my caloric intake for the day. I was always just like something here, something there. But that's the direction I want to go with Shell Shock. I don't want to get in too much into the supplements. We are looking to outsourcing greens and things such as that, but basically healthy stuff that comes from the ground that you can consume that is actually good for you. Because our society, weed included, if they ever legalize weed in Texas, we are turning into a dispensary. I will 100% do that. I don't smoke it, but I'll sell the fuck out of it.
I'll invest.
Absolutely. I'll take it, bro. I'll take it. You want to go into business, we'll do it. But our society is definitely changing because before, when we launched the Rack Out gummies, they were coated in sugar. Each gummy was almost 26 grams of sugar.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I first looked at that and I was like, we can't do this. I was like, this will not fly. That's because they have a lot of fitness-oriented people out there, a lot of health-oriented people. They are not going to want to ingest 26 grams of sugar. I was like, it's too much. Yep. So we had to contact our manufacturers, like, pull this down. I was like, we can't do this. Like, and it's just too much. So then we got it knocked down to like, it's like 1 gram. It's like, that's sustainable. That's fine. And it also didn't make sense because it makes it taste better. But it's like, why are they going to ingest 26 grams of sugar in a gummy that's going to knock them the fuck out? Yeah. So you're giving them CBD, melatonin, and then a sugar spike? It's like, that's so when they hit us with that, I was like, this doesn't even make fucking sense. So we had to tell them, like, this is what we want. And then we actually we gave them the formula of what we wanted. They were kind of like, that's a little too strong. It's like, oh, no. You don't know veterans. Like, we are fucked up. Like, we need something that's not only going to, like, knock us the fuck out, but knock us the fuck out and steal our wallet. That's why I call it the Cardi B gummy. Like, your shit's gone when you wake up. You're like, where the fuck am I? But it's true because the product does have to speak for itself. Moving on. What are some other issues? Both of us are single. Yep. We were talking about this prior to the show. What are some issues you've ran into as far as the dating world? And this is something I feel like maybe a lot of people don't talk about. When you're with somebody and they ask what you do, you're a rarity because it's like when people say CEO these days, everyone's a CEO. Right. Everyone's an entrepreneur.
It's in their Instagram bio. So
it's in their Instagram bio.
It's legit.
It's legit. And they're the CEO of their own little Etsy shop. They're selling, it's like, which they are. I get that. But at the same token, it's like, to what level? Like, right. It's kind of like, and please don't take me as like talking down about that. But it's cheapened what an actual entrepreneur is doing because when I hear the term entrepreneur now, I think you're eating shit like the rest of us. Like your life sucks. You're at highs. You're at extreme fucking lows. Some days you think you're going out of business. Some days you think you're on top of the fuck. I mean, it fluctuates, until you hit that sustained growth where it's like, okay, now the airplane has left the tarmac. We're growing. Right. Now, how do we sustain this trajectory?
Right. And then it's just a little bit of turbulence. Yes. Point. But I mean, you do still have drastic lows. I mean, because, you're right 100% on that. It's not fun.
No, it's not. I mean, when it's fun, it's insanely. Like, dude, I want complete transparency. Our second month in business, I think we cleared 40 grand. I got scared. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, I feel like we just did something wrong. Like, we are bringing in way too much money. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, but we could handle it. Right. Well, we had some supply chain issues because we didn't think it would be that successful. So we had to do immediate reorders, immediate manufacturing, more. Like, we need more. And we finally hammered that out into our own system in-house where it's like, okay, anytime we hit 50% inventory, do a reorder. It's like, we have to have that inventory there. I don't want customers waiting on their orders.
And that's part of building out the foundation.
Yeah. Learning that was a hard lesson because then basically it took me going in there and my partner saying, okay, new SOP. And that's the tricks we learned from the Army. It's like standing operating procedure from here on out. If it hits 50% inventory, do a reorder. Don't even ask our permission. Fucking do it. Right. Because anytime we have a supply issue, I'm going to go to my supply guy. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? It's like, why is this not like this? And also, Other stuff included that, but you're 100% right. It's like when there's highs, there are extremes highs, but like, dude, that month, and that was month 2, 40 fucking grand. And I'm just like, okay, we can take this, we can blow it on dumb shit, or let's invest in a new product.
Right.
We expanded so quickly. That was one of the biggest things that worked for us, was that we didn't start with just one product. Or we launched one product, and we fucked up on that because it was a flavorless CBD. And I was just kind of like, I should have trusted my gut, but I didn't. We were just like, let's launch it anyway. It still had a little bit of a taste I didn't like. I was like, people aren't going to like this. Mm-hmm. So that's when we actually did a cherry vanilla, and that's been our top seller since the dawn of this company. Cherry vanilla has been our top because people fucking love the flavor.
Right.
So we launched cherry vanilla, and people didn't realize it's like every new product you develop, you got to pay. You got to pay a lot of fucking money. Because they basically, you go to the manufacturer and say, this is what I want. And people even talk shit to me about this, like, oh, you don't manufacture your own? It's like, no. I was like, do you have $500,000 to buy the machinery? Do you have a chemist? Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I go to this company and say, this is the formulation that I want. And what makes us different. But realistically, it comes down to your marketing, your price point, and your effectiveness. Because a lot of companies water their shit down. Right. We don't. It's like, I'd rather downscale the price, decrease the margins a little bit, upscale the actual content, because now you know it works and you're coming back for life.
Right. But not only that, like people get, will say the same thing to us. Like, well, oh, you don't manufacture everything in house. Like,
no, you can't.
I go to someone who can make it better than I can.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Because people, they get it in their mind. Because I had another dude who's like, well, I own a CBD business, but we do it in house. Like, you had a fucking loan and you're still paying on that loan. You took out $2 million. I didn't.
Right.
I was like, now in the future, if I ever wanted to, it's like, is it worth it? Not really. Mm-hmm. It's not, because that's a lot of ass pain. Now I got to manufacture. Now, if we did position ourselves to where we were starting operating to where we're manufacturing other CBD companies, that's the position you ultimately want to be in. But that's a shitload of stress. You got to buy your land. You got to build your facility. You got to get the inspections done. Like, you got to have.
And that's where you start off, where we are now, and then build your team and build that framework to be able to
100%.
That. Yeah. And I look forward to where we do another podcast 10 years from now, and we're in that position.
Well, we'll be doing it in Bermuda or some place like that. We'll be rich and fucking all stuff. But I want to go back to the dating world. Yeah. You as an entrepreneur, when you tell people that, like, what have been your experiences in the dating world when people come up to you? Because eventually you're gonna tell them, it's like, I own a very successful business.
Yeah. And, a lot of times, if we're like out and about and stuff like that, I'm not always fully transparent on what I do, because a lot of people will instantly, I don't like to use the term gold digger, but
gimme. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
They instantly go to that. Like, oh, and like everyone has this narrative, like, oh, you own a business, like you're rich. Like, I'm not the highest paid employee at Grill Your Ass Off. That's because I invest back in the company and I believe in the company to keep it growing.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at any business owner, it's going to be in the same aspect. So a lot of times I'll tell them I'm in e-commerce sales.
Smart.
And they're like, oh, okay. And then, right over the top of their head. Because I've gotten two sides. Like in a previous relationship that I had, we actually went over to one of her friend's house, and we had just started talking. I think this was like our second time that we had hung out, and like her friend had asked me, she was like, oh yeah, so you have a seasoning company? Is that just like a side gig? You just do it from your house and stuff like that? I was like, no, we're a little bit bigger than that. She was like, okay, cool. Like, do you need us to buy some like today to help support you and everything like that? And I was just like, I mean, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So I'm not going to turn down a sale. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like there's different aspects of it, but you have to be a lot more protective of yourself, because you do have that asset and liability that most people don't have.
Yeah.
And most people don't know how to protect themselves or how to handle with people like that. And it's so weird. Like, it's just like with business, I learn something new every single day. And even in that realm, like just like what we were talking about before this podcast, like there's so many things that go on that you have to do to be able to protect yourself, because things can go from 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
Yeah.
And it's been one of those hard things, especially, I'm not per se like an influencer, but I am the face of the business, and that carries a lot the same as like an influencer. So it's the one and the same. It's one and the same. And so with that being said, like, there a lot of the people that I have talked to or dated, like they have insecurities because like, I mean, fuck, even whenever we used to go back to your apartment, remember we used to do like live feeds on Instagram whenever that was a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And then like we would literally sit there and my inbox would blow up with like people going into it.
Yeah.
Like things like that happen. And then like whoever I'm with, like I'll show them that because like I'm committed if I'm with you.
Yeah.
And then they get insecure on that. And it's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's just like I'm out there more than you are on the internet. And it's hard to conceptualize that, but it's not only that, it's they think, especially like kind of how where we are now in business, right? We've hit a certain level of success deemed on what you termed success.
Yeah.
Like everybody has a different meaning of it.
Yeah.
But for me, like, we'll say my level of success, like I got a nice house, truck, boat, all that kind of stuff. I get to have fun. I get to take out my employees. We have a fucking great time, but we also work 7 days a fucking week. And a lot of people will see that and they're like, oh, well, you're set. Like, you don't have to work. Stop working. Hey, please, it's Sunday, you don't need to be on this and like all this and that kind of stuff. And it's like, one, you can't, because once you hit a certain level of success, people think like the future success is that much more easier. And it's not. Yeah. Like it takes just as much work as the day,
if not
one.
more, because as you scale upwards, it gets more difficult. Now you got to start bringing in shipping, for example. Shipping was very basic at first. Now I've got, and this is what I want to get to employees in the future here in a second, but I have a 20-year-old who's the son of a DPD guy, a friend of mine, and he runs a multi-million-dollar shipping operation himself. Yeah. This 20-year-old goes in there, he learns the system, he's got his own operation, and he's doing damn good. I stay out of his business. I don't even know how it works anymore. I'm just kind of, because I started it. I did ShipStation, did all that shit. He's got it perfected now to where the UPS and the postal office, their representatives are coming in here, and they're giving us deals, and he's just knocking it out. It's like, just brief me, make sure we're good. Yeah. And he's handling it. And it's incredible, because before, if you're doing like maybe 10 orders a day, it's like, it's not a big deal. Now we're doing 300, 400, 500 orders a day. It's like, okay, now it's getting serious. Yeah. And it gets to a point where you grow so much, like, okay, now I have to start looking at bringing in different kinds of software, programs, things that are going to help us facilitate and streamline this process. And that's a lot of shit that I don't know about. So it's like we bring in consultants to say, how can we make this better? Right. And like you, for example, you came in there for their email, all that stuff. And it paid, but again, you have to have that cash flow. You can invest in that, because some of these software programs, $5,000, $10,000, but it's going to save you a lot of ass pain, a lot of ass pain. It's like, all right, 100%. Eat the cost. Yeah. No, and it's very hard to like someone who's never been in our position, like to explain that to him. Like, hey, it's not like, whenever you get off work at 5 o'clock, you just turn off and then you know, I don't give a fuck. I'll figure it out on Monday or whenever I go back to work. We're running every single department, and even whenever you hire in those departments, you're still accountable for every action that happens in your business, because at the end of the day, you are the business. Dude, you're 100% right, because it goes back to, I think the one thing that's made us successful is that I never lied to my audience. I never sold the stupid bullshit or like the fucking Trump coins or the Trump shirts made in China. Like, people will get like a $200 paycheck from these companies. Like, I wouldn't do it. Because I did in my mind, is like, I want to launch a business, I want to launch a company, and you only get one shot. And if you ever lie to your following, they won't believe you. So the majority of people believe me, and they tried it and was very successful. But you're 100% right with that. You are very right. Now, you talk about you being the face of the brand. Like, people don't realize, like, for here, we do a political podcast. And most businesses, they would say, are you fucking insane? Right. Because we walk a very thin line here, because I have customers that are liberals. I have customers that are conservatives. I have customers that fucking hate America. But it's just one of those things of like, when we say the things we say, it's like, dude, are we going to lose customers? Probably. But the fact is, though, I think a good majority of them will be like, I don't agree with what you say, but I know I can trust your word when it comes to your products, because you don't lie. You at least have the balls enough to stand by your convictions and not bend the knee to bullshit woke narratives or GOP shit like that. And I think that ushered in a different style of business for us, to where I look at people like Andy Frisella, who don't hold back. Yeah. Because Andy and he had me on his podcast, and I was kind of like, I will never mix business and politics. Like, I'll do the Savage podcast, but on the Shell Shock page, we've only posted 2 political things, and that was during lockdowns. The first one is, we will never demand a mask in here. And second is, we will never mandate vaccinations for our employees. We will never do it. Fuck the state, fuck the government. Those are the only 2 times we did it. Right. And we were met with instant gratification. But I thought that was justified, because that is in keeping with the Constitution. Anything outside of that, we don't get political. Yeah. I do. People know that. But it's kind of like, go back what you said. You're the face of the brand. So you've got to protect yourself, because you could have some crazy fucking psycho out there that tries to put you on the social media mat and drag your fucking name. And you can't engage because if you do, you're giving them that oxygen. And if you do that, it's very bad. So I've had buddies of mine, same fucking thing, going through a divorce, and their wives will fabricate they'll create these fake accounts. Dude, the shit's happened to me too. And I'm sitting like, what the fuck? And then it happened to me, and I'm like, oh, I get it now. I get it. It's like, if I engage with that, I send my followers over there, then bullshit starts spreading, and then it turns into lawsuits. It's like, I don't want to deal with it. Don't give that fire oxygen. Back the fuck away. Let them spread the lies and deceit, and just go away. Just lead it be. And it's fucking hard.
No, it is.
It's hard.
And like, the last relationship I was in, I learned a lot. And, for me, this point forward, it sucks too, because like there's certain things that you do want to put out there on social media, because like social media is a highlight reel of your life, and you might have a great time. But now, like, I don't want to put any relationship shit out there.
Yeah, I learned that,
I don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. And it's like...
I get it now. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And especially, like, too, like, being the face of the brand, or, like, being with someone else, like, they get very jealous whenever... we go out to a public event. Like, I remember first hanging out with you. I'd go out to a public event with you, and everyone's like, hey, Jason, will you hold the phone while we take the photo? And then that'll happen to me, like, while I'm with a significant other, and then they get pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is someone who buys my product.
Yeah.
And they enjoy
I'm gonna kiss their ass. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say, but I'm gonna be friends. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And like one of the things like we talked about before this podcast, like we've worked with girls who are attractive and posted them on social media before.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And like a lot of them,
we haven't done that so much in Shell Shock. I never wanted to do, but I get where you went with, because you had a lot of people that were actually legit grilling and stuff.
Yeah,
they're just very attractive females.
Yeah, and
to be honest, let's just be honest. You're not going to put ugly people up there.
No,
I'm sorry, it just doesn't attract. It's just not. It's not.
And if you look at like not our customer base, so to say, but a lot of like grilling or barbecue companies, like the average customer isn't going to be that attractive.
Yeah.
Unless if you're into, dad bods, fucking New Balances and all that kind of shit.
Clicking the tongues twice. And absolutely. Look here, Bobby.
So, I mean, like, and it's literally affiliates that we have worked with. And that's caused like negative things.
Yeah.
And it's just like.
In your personal life is what you're talking about.
In my personal life, like reflecting back on that. And it's like, hey, look, like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in my business, so I'm going to go 100% in every single fucking day and not live with regret for that. And if somebody has a problem with that, it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
Like, that was a portion in my life. And, for the pandemic, per se, like, none of us knew if we were going to have a business.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, because I mean, I know for us, for about a week and a half, whenever the lockdowns came in, I told all my guys, I have no idea what the fuck is about to happen. And our sales tanked. But I tell you what, like that second, third week of the lockdown, holy fuck.
Yeah.
We did not know what to do because we couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
But those are the things that people don't realize. It's like, literally, it's a balancing act every single day of us managing everything going on with the business, cash, events, employees, all that kind of stuff. Because like one fuck up could end your business. Yeah. And if anyone needs a reflection on that, every time you go drive down a street, I always look at strip centers and other buildings to where a business has gone out of business. Yeah. And like, that's a reflection every day. Like that could be us.
Yes. 100%. Don't get comfortable. Yeah.
Right. And like, that's become
I feel, I'm glad you said that, because when we first launched Shell Shock, I was talking to JT from Black Rifle. He's come in and consulted for us a few times. And, we were talking offline, and, he came in there and he was kind of like, looked, he's like, dude, I'm proud of you. He's like, you're doing it right. He's like, all these other influencers out there still hawking t-shirts for these other veteran companies, like, they're doing it wrong. He's like, you're doing it right. You took a brand, you took a business, and you scaled. He's like, you are doing it exactly how Black Rifle is doing it. I was like, that made me feel good. But what he said was, or I asked him, I was like, did you ever get over the feeling of it being too good to be true? He's like, yeah. He said, I did. He said, because when you first launch, it does feel too good to be true. He said, because honestly, John, he's like, you and I were never supposed to have this kind of money. He's like, we weren't. He's like, we were born down here. We were never supposed to elevate to this level. He's like, social media was a game changer for that. And so, and I'm not saying I'm on JT's level as far as that. I don't want to give away his personal business, but Black Rifle is very successful. They're competing with fucking Starbucks. Yeah. They're very successful. So, but JT was like, when I made my first $1 million, he's like, I hit up a buddy of mine who was already a millionaire, and he was just like, does that feeling ever go away? He's like, yeah. He's like, once you start investing, once you start putting money away, you realize that even if the business goes under, I'm still set for life. He's like, but that doesn't slow you down. But the one thing that scared me about Shell Shock was that when we first launched and we had such immediate success, I was scared. And I'm still a little nervous from time, but you learn to live with that, to where it's like, okay, the foundation is solid. like I said, the plane, we've taken off the tarmac, and now it's like, okay, how do we get to the next level? How do we get to the next altitude? How do we spread further? And it's just kind of like, but never getting in the mindset of allowing laziness to infect the business. Right? Dude, I have fired so many fucking employees, a lot of them veterans, because people come in these doors with their hands out and they think that just by virtue of being a veteran, you're going to get treated like gold here. Like, no, I'm going to hold you to a higher fucking standard. And if you can't hack it, I'm going to fire your ass on the fucking spot.
But it's not just that. People see, our social media accounts a lot of times because, again, it's a highlight reel. Yeah. And they think that, this is the only thing that we do.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know that I was up until, 1, 2 in the morning last night trying to find product because we had a supplier back out for a major order that's going to change our business in the month of June. And then 8 o'clock this morning, I had a meeting with the new inventory software that we're going to be using once we get our new warehouse opened up. So it's like, it's not all just like, oh, hey, we're sitting here bullshitting and having a fucking podcast. Like there's a strategic reason why I came here to do this podcast with you outside of just touching your penis. Yeah. So,
absolutely. That's a given.
But
that also breaks down to the dynamics of how different businesses work, because for me, it's like Shell Shock's structured very differently from most companies, to where it's like Sarah and Tyler are our project leads. Like Sarah's in there learning. You train Sarah. Like I don't know half of the shit that she knows. Like I told her, it's like, that's why I pay you. I was like, but my slice of this pie is social media.
Yeah.
It's getting the podcast out there. It's getting the number. It's watching the news articles. It's reading this shit. It's being informed on this stuff. So when we're doing the podcast, it's like we talked about prior to the show. It's like you rep your own product. You're giving the audience free content. They're getting to see inside your brain how you think. It's entertainment. But at the same token, you're also saying this episode is sponsored by Shell Shock CBD. And it's like, but we also see an increase in sales with that. I mean, Black Rifle does it with fucking the Drinking Bros podcast. Alex Jones does it. It's like, you're stupid if you don't.
Right.
Joe Rogan does it with his own shit, or he does it with Kill Cliff, other stuff. It's like, it's got to the point where if you're not utilizing these proven techniques that work, you're an idiot. Like I still have met people at these little freaking things that I go to, and it's like, what's your social media like? It's, oh, we don't have one. It's like, you're fucking stupid.
Right.
I was like, you're fucking stupid. I was like, you are literally passing on a major chunk of potential sales. Like everyone, 85% of people now don't even watch TV. They're on their phone. It's like, so what are you doing to engage? Like, we're old school. We take out newspapers. Like your business is going to go out. It's like, you're not going to be successful.
No, 100%. And before we get off that subject, you were talking about lazy and like personal life and things like that. That's, one of the things that I'm very conscious of is like that laziness aspect. Like, I can't be with someone who's lazy. I've been there before.
Oh, yeah. You talking about the dating world?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Tell me about it. Yeah.
Just drag you down.
Yeah. Somebody that's equally driven 100%. And they don't have to be. And that's the thing, is like people would think that like there's two things that really send up red flags for me in any relationship. The first one is when the girl says, I bet you get all kinds of girls DMing you and stuff, don't you? It's like, yeah, I do. Does that impact you? Does that make you jealous? It's like, because if we're talking, you don't own me.
Yeah.
It's like, now if we're serious, I'm going to cut that shit out. Absolutely. And the second thing is that they have this expectation of your expectation of their success level. It's like, as long as you are grinding, I don't fucking care if you are just starting your business.
Exactly.
I have no beef with that. If you're ambitious and you're driven, I was there too. You were there too. It's like, I'm not going to pass judgment on that. If you're a lazy motherfucker and you're not putting in the work, I'm not interested. I'm just not, because I feel like that reflects into other aspects of their life. And here's the thing, to each their own. Some people are like, well, that's very judgmental. Yeah, because I have a lot to bring to the table. I've worked a lot. You yourself, you built this from the fucking ground up. Why the fuck would I ever lower my standard to somebody that's fucking lazy, that has no aspirations? Because why would you want to attach yourself to a fucking anchor?
You have to be selfish.
Exactly.
At that point.
Exactly.
It's your life that you're committing.
I wouldn't even call it selfish. That's you guarding what you built. 100%.
Yeah. And that's shallow and fucking all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. And like the older I get, the more I see is like, I think there's two frames of having a partner. It's someone who's equally as driven and hustle with you and all that kind of stuff, or someone who's a cheerleader.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing being wrong with either side of that.
That's true. Because you were talking about the other relationship you had, to where, and I'll let you, if you want to go into that, like you actually got a point. You got a point. I do like that.
Yeah. And it's like, so you can have someone, who's like the same driven mindset, maybe they're not a business owner, but they're very successful in their career and like they're right there with you. Yeah. Or you can have someone who's like more of a stay-at-home mom kind of thing, but is there to support you and cheer you on. They might not go and like do events with you or help you at the business, but they're there to support you in whatever way that they can.
Yeah. Well, you said the one girl said she was going to events, she was helping you set up all kinds of stuff. Like even as she was working another job, it's like, dude, Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. I respect that. And I'm not saying that I would only date other entrepreneurs. Like if you're successful, like I'm talking to a few different people right now, and every single one of them are successful in their field. If they're not, I'm not interested.
Right.
And it does sound shallow. I'll give them that, but it's like, look, I'm not in a point in my life where I want to have to deal with that. It's like, you got to have your shit together, because it's just, I feel like steel sharpens steel. And if you're not freaking at least trying to sharpen your blade, I'm sorry, or helping me sharpen mine in some way. Like you said, I do like the cheerleader aspect. That's a good point. It's where they're there supporting you. It's like, I don't need you. Like, I don't need you in my life, because that's a crucial part, because we've got 10 employees. I do have to worry about putting food on their table.
100%.
I have to worry about if any woman I date wants to go out there and make up bullshit about me, it could tank the business. It could take food off of their plates. So now we talked about this prior. Like if I'm going into an actual relationship with a woman, I'm going to have them sign an NDA. I'm going to have to take legal ramifications to say, if we get in this relationship, anything we do will not be disclosed to the public. I don't give a fuck if we have the worst breakup imaginable.
Yeah.
If you do, take that out on me. Don't take it out on them. That does not impact them. And people that do that, I fucking hate. I hate them. It's like, you hate me so much, you want to ruin their lives too. They did nothing to you. They had nothing to do with the relationship.
100%. Because
I hate that.
We're still human.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we own businesses, cool, but we're still human.
Yeah.
Every day, like, we fuck up all the time. So,
well, it's not even relating to that. We're just saying in general, it's just like, you can have these arguments where both people are wrong or both people are right, but they're going to try and be vindictive about it. And it's like, why? What's the point?
Yeah.
What's the fucking point?
Things didn't work out, move on.
Exactly.
Period. Like, and that's like, I don't know, people like blow things so far out of perspective that's totally not necessary. And it's just like, she's just having a really good dream.
Yeah.
She's been
These paws are twitching over.
5 minutes.
Yeah. She probably smells your seasoning.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know, like everybody has a different perspective on things, and like once you're in this position, like a lot of things start making sense on like why people more successful than us do certain things and protect themselves in certain ways, and act certain ways on social media. Like that was one of the things, like like coming up with social media, I would always see like a lot of successful people, like Gary Vee, for instance, because he's an easy one that a lot of people know. He didn't ever post his family.
Yeah.
Or his wife or anything like that. And I was always like, man, that's fucking weird. But yeah, a lot of it makes sense now. And
I made that mistake. I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
I'll never do it. Because people had a good point. Because when I break up with somebody or vice versa, it's like, hey, where's so-and-so? It's like, it's none of your business. Well, I brought them into their life via social media. But I do have to counter that with, I did bring them into their life, but I also didn't post how we fuck.
Yeah.
That's none of your business. If a relationship ends, it's none of your business. But to alleviate that from happening, just don't post it.
Exactly.
And that's what I've had to learn. Or I set up a private page now. It's just only my immediate friends and family. I might post it there if I'm in another relationship.
Yeah.
And that's another thing towards like, I don't know if I ever want to get another relationship. Like, I just don't know, because Hinge is great. Bumble's great. But sometimes it's just, I don't know. Like, until I find a woman that blows my fucking shoes off, like, I'm not settling anymore at all. Because as soon as I see a red flag, I'm fucking out. Like, I'm gone.
No, and I'm in the same boat with you. It's like we've worked so hard to get this, and like the relationship, honestly, being in my previous relationship, it got so toxic to the point it affects the business, and then whenever it affects the business, those employees that rely on you every single day, they see that, and then that affects their personal lives.
Dude, you're not lying there. That was a side of business that I never actually understood until actually doing this. To where in the military, man, I was wrong. I was really wrong, because I thought it was like, you come to work, you do your job, you get paid, you shut the fuck and go home. It's not like that.
No.
It's not like that in the civilian world. Now you got to deal with personal issues. You got to deal with personal drama. You got to deal with divorces, breakups, child issues, daycare, everything. And that factors in. That factors in a lot, to where now you have to establish SOPs, saying you have this many PTOs, you have this many sick days. You go over, that's on you.
Yeah.
And at the same token, you also have to invest in your freaking employee relationships, where sometimes they are falling on some hard times. Like, look, we'll cut you a break. It's like, but when this is over, you better come back and be on fire for this brand. And they always are. I mean, actually, no, sometimes they're not. There's been a lot to where I've had to fire employees that took advantage.
Right.
Like, I would give and give and give way beyond, because they see it as, that's one of those things that I learned early on. You give them an inch, they're going to take a fucking mile. You give them a bonus once, they expect it every year. It's like, no, your bonus is dependent upon how we do for the year. If we don't do better than last year, you're probably not getting a bonus. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Or the basic assumption of, if the boss is driving a nice car, we should all be getting a pay increase. No, you didn't put any stake in this. You didn't take any fiscal risk. You're not on this building for $7,500 a month because if the thing goes tits up, I'm bankrupt. Right. You're not. You go find another job. You've assumed no risk. And people don't get that.
Yeah.
It's this sense of entitlement to where it's like, well, look at all these nice things you have. It's like, yes, but you know how much I fucking risk on a daily basis? How much money that I'm hooked on this for?
100%.
Like me and Josh, like if this thing tanks, we're fucked. Yeah. Like we are fucked.
No, and that like so to reinstate on that, that's one of the reasons like I'm very clear and transparent with everything with my employees. Financial wise, all of that kind of stuff. Because it's like I don't want them to sit in there and think like, oh, well, like, hey, we should be getting higher bonuses or this and that kind of stuff. Like, I'm very transparent with them. I take very, very good care of them because they're family. Like at the end of the day, and
but I'll fire a family member in a heartbeat if you can't fucking pull your weight. You're gone.
Yeah, and then that's like, you know, I incentivize the guys. You know, like, hey, if you fucking bust your ass and you get shit done, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, and like I try and be as clear and as transparent as possible on that, so I can reward them for that. But I mean, you were talking about earlier, like hard things in business. That is one of the hard things is building out the infrastructure of the employee system.
You're not
and everything
lying.
like that, because like a lot of people who do go down in business, like, and it's funny, it's come full circle. Like, you know, whenever I started this business, everyone growing up expected me to take over my parents' hardware store. And since I was 16, I haven't worked there. I haven't had anything to do with it. I have a great relationship with my family. It's just
doing your own thing.
That's their dream.
Yeah.
I want to do my own shit. Right. So starting this company, I 100% will be way better off and more successful if I would have gone to my dad and been like, hey, Dad, where's all the shit you fucked up in business? Teach me. But instead, I was a fucking dumb, hard-ass grunt that just got out of the army and was like, I could do everything and learn it myself. And it's helped me so much.
Do you think... Because that's a very good point, because I know you and I are a lot similar in those aspects to where, do you think you would actually have heeded his advice versus you actually going and learning for yourself? I wouldn't.
There would have been a small portion that I probably would have taken in. That,
a little bit,
that could have helped,
you
know, over time. But
because I'm the same way. It's like, and I hate to say this, but I think this is also what like the entrepreneur spirit is. It's like saying, no one's ever been able to get that thing off the ground. It's like, okay, I'm going to try it my way because I want to see. And if I can't, fair enough. At least I tried and failed, but I know I at least tried. Half the time, it's kind of like, you have to consider the source on a lot of the stuff.
Right.
It's like, we couldn't make this work. It's like, well, did you do it the right way? It's like, well, we did this. Like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to try it my way.
Or like,
and we've done that here. And that's why it pisses me off. We were like, business should be A, B, C. No, sometimes it's A, C, D, Z, Y. You just don't fucking know.
Because there's no rules in business.
There's no rules in business. It's a matter of throw shit against the wall. What works? Go with that.
Yep.
So when people go to these fucking seminars, these goddamn forgive me, Lord, these stupid fucking influencers want to put out there that offer generic motivational feel-good bullshit, they're not doing you any favors. It's inactionable content.
Right.
So when you have a podcast where you're talking about Klaviyo, these are programs you can go download and implement into your company. This is value.
Yep.
This is fucking value that you're getting for free.
And that's why I hate words of affirmation.
Oh, it's such a jerk, yeah.
Yeah, like...
It doesn't do me any good. Makes me feel good, but how am I going to make money doing that?
And it's the same thing as like, you know, people like waking up, I'm a lion. No, you're not. You're a human. Like, get the fuck
it's
out
true.
of here.
It's true.
And it's like, you know, I have a...
Everyone's building an empire. Everyone's fucking... No, you're not. No, you're not. And it's not that I'm trying to criticize that. It's understand the gravity of your situation so you can accept a reality and then change the fucking reality.
100%, because your reality is you're fucking human. Period. End of story. And
you're not a CEO. You're not a fucking sex... You're not what you're striving to be yet.
Right.
Don't sit there and project what you're going to be. Understand what you are and then figure out steps to get to that next level. But if you're sitting there pretending like you already are, it's like, look, I get pie in the sky. I get speak it into existence. I get that level of motivation, but I think it's bullshit. I think it's get the fuck in there, get your fingers dirty, get your knees wet, all that shit. Do what you got to do. But don't you dare sit there and fabricate some kind of mythological position that you think you're in. It's like, you're not. Embrace your reality and then change it.
And I think a lot of that is people using words of affirmation, setting a goal and not actually figuring out how to achieve that goal.
Exactly.
They're setting a goal and then painting the picture of them being at that goal because they heard somewhere by some influencer or some stage, person saying, all right, all you have to do is, write down your goal on your whiteboard inside your room, and then you'll achieve that goal. Like, no, you got to figure out who the fuck is at this level. Yeah. What are they doing, and how do I replicate that?
That's exactly what you did for us. Like, you came in here, we paid you, you consulted, and you increased us. It's like, there wasn't bullshit. It was literally, we're getting down here, we're figuring these programs. This will increase your revenue output or input. It's like, awesome, and it did.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I fucking loathe. And these guys, that's the business. They're selling you bullshit, and people don't realize it. And that's why all these influencers that do these talks, they fucking buy my package. It's a business. And then you sit there and like, I've watched one. I'm like, I didn't learn a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, you spoke some great words that made my pee-pee wiggle, but that's not going to translate in sales, because ultimately that's what it's about. How can I take what information you gave me and make it pay? Because if I can't, it's fucking worthless.
Right. And that's like, the motivation words and everything like that. Motivation is a fleeting fear.
Yeah.
Like that's the feeling that you get. It's actually fleeting. It's not like empowering or anything like that. So that whenever you hear people say you have to stay hungry and driven and, go through the grind, dig through the ditch, all that kind of stuff, like they're talking about that because you don't make a business or a lifestyle off of motivation. You do it off of being driven and doing the boring basic shit every fucking day until you get better, and then you add on more boring basic shit and you can continue.
I was going to say, how exciting is your business? Sometimes, dude, it gets boring as fuck here.
Okay, so you want to know?
This is real talk. Like, people think it's like, oh, no. Once the foundation is set and the machine is well oiled and it's operating, we'll hit kinks It's boring as fuck.
No, and that's like
this is the highlight of my day. It's like, outside of here, it's like, things are going good. Okay, cool. Just do some spot checks. It's like,
Whenever I was, I was 17. I just started opening up my very first business, and I was still working. I had just gotten a job at a machine shop as a 3D CAD engineer. Because I sucked at school. I hated school. It wasn't fun to me.
So you're definitely one of those individuals that education didn't do shit for you, and here you are. Fucking last year you did like 1.4 mil.
Yeah,
like you're the proof that fucking, like, I had a liberal arts degree from American Military University. Never used the fucking thing. Never. It was just a common sense approach to business.
Yeah, and for school, for me, a lot of it was like, it's just memorizing stuff to answer the test correctly. Yeah. When in real life, there's more than one correct answer.
Exactly.
And if you have that better answer, you're going to be a lot more successful. Mm-hmm. And that's just not for me. So, like, I excelled in things like welding, shop class, drafting, things like that.
Things with your hands.
Allowed me to use my hands and my brain to be able to invent stuff and, like, create things and, like, go off the beaten path of A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
So, like, I got
Did you know earlier on that you just were not meant for academia, that you just were not meant to work for somebody else? Like, you knew you had to be your own boss because you knew you'd flourish in that scenario?
No, not 100%. Just because I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, everything was just firing off. And, my parents growing up, like, they bought a failing business, created it as a successful business. And ever since a kid, they were like, we never had the opportunity to go to college, so we've busted our ass to fucking make sure you can go out and do that.
Yeah.
And that was like my whole entire childhood growing up. And whenever I
dropped out,
so I actually graduated on the minimum plan in high school because they said I had ADHD, I was dyslexic. They said I had all these like learning shit, but I just never implemented myself or applied myself because I never gave a fuck. I'm like, cool, I can pass with a 70 and get the same fucking piece of paper that you do, and you fucking study all day long whenever I could be out skateboarding, building shit.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why socialism will never work. I will study my ass off. This dude does it, and we get the same piece of it. It makes sense, though. I agree. Yeah. Because I think at the same token, if you're smart enough to understand, I don't enjoy this, I'm going to put minimal effort enough to pass this and maximize my effort in other areas of my life where I do love it and excel in those areas. Because I feel like academia as a whole is a big fucking scam.
It is.
If I'm going to a business degree, why the fuck am I taking basic biology? It makes no sense. It's a fucking scam.
Yeah.
And then in this day and age, that's a question I did want to ask you. It's like, do you feel, because you've learned, you do what I don't. Like, I'm not good at certain areas, but you'll take an area that you're not good at and you will apply yourself. I just know, it's like, I don't care about it. I'm not even going to try. I'll pay somebody else to do it because they're going to get 10 times better results. You actually watch YouTube. You go on the internet. You go to these seminars and you learn it yourself.
Well, and now
it's changed the dynamic of how to build a successful business. Now you can get the information for free, off of YouTube, off of Google.
And that's what I did starting the business. Is like, I didn't know how to make a fucking website. Like, whenever I first got out of the military and started going to college, the first website that I had built since 2009, because my first ever business I actually created a website for back before Facebook was a thing. And I was paying a dude in California to build the website.
So that's what I did, yeah.
So I never did any of that. And then I started building the business by watching YouTube and Googling shit. And once I hit a certain point to where it's like, hey, our business has, a couple $1,000s extra cash. I can invest it back in inventory, machines, software, all that kind of shit. But I'm going to set aside some to where I can go to this seminar that's, say
self-investment,
$7,000, self-invest in myself, and versus me spending the next 6 months trying to learn a craft on free YouTube videos, I can pay this.
It's almost like a trade school. It is a trade school.
No, 100%.
You're paying to get taught a specific skill set that you can immediately apply.
Yeah, and that's what I've recently found out and like started doing a lot more is like, hey, I'm paying to learn, but I can turn around and after a weekend or a week, implement that in the business and double and triple sales that month. Oh, hey, cool. It just paid for that $6,000 seminar.
You see, I'm in a different position though, because it's like when you said there's no one single right answer, there's no single one right way to lead. You have to identify your strengths, your weaknesses. So for me, it's kind of like I pay employees to go learn that shit. And it's like, if you can take that skill and bring in more revenue, I will give you a raise because you did that, not me.
Yeah.
I was like, and I won't take a raise personally, but it's like, I will invest more in you, because also that brings up another point of employee loyalty. I don't like losing employees. It costs way too much.
100%.
Then to bring them back in and train new ones, trainability, it takes months. It's a pain in the fucking dick. So I would rather invest in employees to stick around. And so JT actually brought up a good point. He said, when you find employees that are going to latch onto your business and they're going to stick through thick and thin with you, how do you retain them? He's like, I give them a piece of the company. It's like, right now I have 2 employees that have been with me since damn near the very beginning. They own a percentage of this company, to where if we ever sell, they're getting that percentage. And every year we're going to talk about a slight percentile increase, because I don't want them going someplace else.
No.
One of them you even talked about, if she ever quits, you're going to hire her. It's like, you fuck off. You fuck off. I'm not losing her.
We'll sell the company and then I'll hire her.
But it's true. So you have to look at, and that's another part of the infrastructure of your business, how do we have employee retainability? Because when I used to work with Grunt Style, like back in 2015, 2016 as one of their influencers, their employee turnover was through the fucking roof. They treated their employees like shit. They didn't pay them worth a damn. Like, it was like being in a military or a mini boot camp. Like, I saw they were treated like, this sucks.
Yeah.
So you can go into our kitchen right now. There's drinks, there's snacks, I bought them a popcorn machine. We have nice coffee machines. They can go in there and for free. I don't charge them anything. It's like, because I want to invest. I saw how Google treats their people, how Facebook treats their people. Give them an environment to where they can chill. I give them a stipend to decorate their offices with, whatever the fuck they want. I don't care. In the packaging area, I told them, I don't give a shit if you listen to music, if you're watching movies. I don't care, as long as it does not impact your job. And if it impacts your job, I'm pulling that right away. I'm pulling that thing away.
That's one of the things that I just implemented is I'm paying all of my guys gym memberships.
I was thinking about doing that. They didn't want it. Yeah. And I'm not going to force them. Now, I do have 3 or 4 of our employees that do go to the gym, but they're making good enough money to where it's like, I'm not paying $10 a month for your gym. You're okay.
Yeah.
And they're getting benefits. Like, that was the other thing that I learned. Legally, I can't get into it. I don't want to talk about the previous partner that I had. We made some serious mistakes. We made some serious fiscal. You know what I'm talking about. And that was just me not being in the know. And we scaled so fucking quickly that most companies at our level will never offer benefits that early on.
Right.
We did. Like, I'm not ashamed to say our monthly overhead runs us almost $95,000 a month. Our overhead, we have to hit at least $95,000 a month in sales or we're in the red. And that's because we pay our employees benefits. Right. We have a very nice place to stay in. We have all these things and reinvesting back in more product, inventory, all that shit. And then employee pay, like it's a lot. And not to mention, Uncle Sam fucks me raw dog hardcore with taxes, baby. Hardcore.
Yeah, it's that's just, and the thing is, like, we're talking about like all the different like things that stress us out and like that people don't see. And I wouldn't even really say stress because it's more of a driven thing for me. Like I get stressed. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, let's go fix this issue. Yeah. That's a tiny portion of the whole entire business. And that's one of the things, like being bootstrapped and, starting with $1,100, getting to where we are now. Like, one thing that I have always done for my business is, like, we can retain employees all day long with all these tactics. They can also get hit by a car and die. Well, guess what? If that happens, I can turn around and do their job.
Yeah.
I might not be able to do it as well as them,
right?
But I know every single software that we use. I know how to use it. And half the time, like I'll have employees call me while I'm driving down the road, and I will explain them like seminars of what people would fucking pay for, and I know it verbatim because I've done it so many times.
Yeah,
in front of the computer.
So that's why we cross train each other. Like in the customer relation, they're cross trained on these programs, and then Sarah, she does the same thing to where she cross trains her group about it to where like if she can't make it a day, they can easily step in and do some of her roles and responsibilities. But there, you're right. There are some things where it's like you do have to know.
Yeah,
because when I was first starting this, it was the same thing. Like I knew everything. Now it's like because I talked to Andy Versil about it. I was kind of like, where do you stand now as far as your company? Like, he's a $1 billion fucking company. It's first for him. He's not even international. He's just nationally based.
Yeah,
but I told him I was like,
amazing.
Yeah, I was like, how much of your company do you get involved in? He's like 0. I was like, wait, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, that's what I pay them for. He's like, I built it. I started it. Now I pay them to do it. He's like, but that's just my style of doing it. You've got to figure out what style works for you by identifying 100%. Your strengths and weaknesses. You're good at that shit, and you make it work for you. Andy, he's just like, I do my podcast. I make sure the ship is going in the right direction, and it works. I have employees that do a damn good job. Same for us. Like Sarah, Tyler, Omar, all these kids, they bust their fucking asses, and it works.
Yeah, and as I continue to grow and hire on more people, like I have to step further and further back. And like one of the things, like Jocko said this on one of his podcasts, and it stuck in my head, like to master everything, one must do nothing. And that's like the thing is like, if I'm doing every single person's job, then I have no time to be able to actually step back from the firing line. We'll use some grunt tactics.
No, you're right.
And overlook the actual battle and the situation going on.
I never forgot that lesson because when we were in the infantry, like doctrine was weird to me. Because they said when you're a fire team leader, so you're in charge of a 4-man team, including yourself. So you got your fucking grenadier, your rifleman, and your saw gunner, and yourself as a team leader. They said the team leader always leads from the front. I was like, and you're right, to an extent. But as soon as contact is made, where is your position? Your position should go from being on the front of the team to bounding your men up, and now you're in the rear because you have to observe the battlefield. You cannot be on the front. We lead from the front. No, we don't, because if you go down, who the fuck's radioing Bravo team? Who's radioing the squad leader? What's going on? Exactly. It's the same in business. You can be on the front line, but if you're on the front line, you're not observing the entire fucking battlefield. So each one of my employees has their slice of the pie, and I'm sitting here looking at the entire kitchen. It's like, okay, is this operating as effectively as it can be? I want to see, the analytics on all this stuff. So that's how different people, and then some people, they work great in the fray. They crave the chaos. And there are times I feel the same way, but you make a very good point. It's like to be a master, you have to do nothing sometimes to where it's like, and the other part is you got to trust your employees to be able to do the right thing.
Exactly. And that comes back down to training and like having SOPs set up. And like last year we were getting ready to hire on another guy, and we reworked our whole entire SOP infrastructure to where now all of our SOPs, they're actually video documented on the current software that we're using. So if, right now, like I leave for Mexico tomorrow, if the guys have a question on something, they just go click a link and it shows them a video on how to do that. And that's been huge because that alleviates a lot of phone calls that I get. And
that's a lot of time that you've invested into that specific training program. Because we had the same thing set up to where one of our guys, he actually got offered a better job to work at a hospital, and was like, dude, I don't blame you. He's like, go. I was like, you'll get a great recommendation for us. Like, if they're going to pay you fucking like $25 an hour, like, you'd be stupid not to take it.
Right.
But he'd actually set up a program for us to where we have an educational tool for new employees that onboard. They have to learn all the products, what they do, yada, yada. And it makes them 10 times more effective at their job. But that took time for that person to invest. And I'm paying that employee because then you have to factor in cost of goods, cost of labor, all that shit. It adds up. So it's like time is money.
And they're not selling it.
Nope.
So it's like it's a cost. It's a figurative.
You're going to eat that cost, but it's going to make it. When I have an employee come in, a new employee, it's going to make it 10 times easier. It's like, read this. You're going to be quizzed on it. Once you're good to go, you're on the front lines.
And that's like one of the hard things that you have to learn with business is like, where do I invest this money now for 5 years down the road, or do I invest this money differently for a shorter term gain? And like, those are the battles you have to play every single day. But that also makes it fun.
It does. It's a calculated gamble.
Yeah, and that's literally all we're doing is gambling. Starting a business, you're gambling, going in debt, and then hoping you can make it. And like that's like I love failing at things because like, dude, like if
that's how you're gonna learn.
If Grill Your Ass Off goes under tomorrow, I'll just start another business. I'll keep my guys, and then we'll just make it 10 times better.
And and then the other part is you also do a lot of freaking business consulting. Like you've got such a plethora of experience that you could charge. Like you could charge good fucking money because you actually have actionable shit.
Yeah, I just don't have any fucking time to do it.
But if you did, you could easily launch an ebook. You could easily launch a freaking video conference class. You could easily bring in young entrepreneurs and say, hey,
Those are things like, the skill sets that I'm building with this company. Like, say, the day I go to sell Grill Your Ass Off, like, I might be sitting fat, dumb, and happy financial wise, but I'm going to be bored as shit.
Yep.
I'm like, cool, let's use some of these skill sets that I learned, start another business, and then I can, make some, really good cash. And go
you think you'll ever sell Grill Your Ass Off?
I don't know. It's one of those things, like, especially with this pandemic, like, it was a real eye opener for a lot of people. Like, I'll have people ask me all the time, like, hey, what's your 5-year plan? I don't know what the fuck's happening in 6 months.
Dude, I'm the same way.
Like,
I used to feel bad about that.
I did too.
What's your 5-year? I don't have one. Yeah. I live it day by day. I don't fucking know. And I'm not going to sit there and project because it never works out. Like, it's the same in combat. What's your fucking plan? It doesn't matter because as soon as the first shot's fired, it's gone to shit.
Yeah.
And that's why people I think it's because people want to give or make themselves feel like they have control. You have no control. We get hit by the federal government with shit left and fucking right. And like you, instead of the stress, like, okay, problem solving mode. How do we fix this?
Right.
What course? I almost feel like this is like Star Trek. It's like, all right, engineering, what's the problem? How do we fix this? What can we do? And so it's the team coming together saying, here's how we can get through some shit, or here's how we fix this, or we need to outsource to this person. And that's what I thrive on. So when people talk about like, what's your 5, 10 years, dude, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna sit here and do that because I think half the people that do that, they do it to make themselves give the impression that they're an expert. It's like, you're full of shit.
No.
You're full of fucking shit.
So last year, I did a bunch of different business classes and like consulting with people and everything. And I met a lot of very successful, famous people. And I learned a lot. And I tried to implement some of the methods that they were doing, like forecasting out a year for like product releases and everything.
Now that I can agree with. Yeah. That I agree with because that's a little bit different.
Right. But even like with supply chain shortages, like last year we had like 6 new products to release. We launched 2.
I remember you telling me about that, yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, it's hard. Like, yes, we do like schedule out and forecast out a lot of things, but like to have like a dead set, oh, this is my 5-year plan. Like, it's a waste of time.
That is a waste of time.
It's kind of like what we were
I at least want to be going in that direction. But as far as like this specific path, good luck. Yeah. Good fucking luck.
Because as you know, with business, every day is a different path.
It is.
That you had no idea was about to slap you in the face.
That's the thing that I hate is when, I mean, I think that's like from being an NCO in the Army. It's like when things are going too smooth or like being a parent, it's like, why is it so quiet? It's like, what are they doing? Like, what's coming? Like you're pessimistic. And I think that's why in the area of like self-improvement, shit like that, people are always like, you're very pessimistic. It's like, yeah, it's what's kept me alive. It's what kept this business fucking going. If I'm going to be an optimist, I'm going to be an optimistic idiot.
Yeah.
I want to be a pessimistic optimist in a sense of I want to have the mindset to identify everything that could go wrong. I want to look for every possible fucking failure I can find and then use an optimistic mindset of say, now how do we fix this?
Yeah.
Every problem has a solution. You just have to be the mindset to where we're going to find the solution. But other people, they just like, no, if you believe it, you can achieve it. Suck my dick. It's not so simple. You can't just sit there and say, I'm going to build, I'm going to own that building. Well, how? Well, I just am because I believe in myself. You've got no actionable plan. You're full of shit.
Exactly. And that's like one thing that I've learned more and more and more is any situation, anything we're going to buy, anything we're going to do, the first thing, I don't look at any reward, positive, what's wrong.
Yeah. What could go wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. What's like,
yeah.
I went and did the walkthrough of our new warehouse yesterday because they're getting everything finalized and shit like that. And I'm like, walking into it, it's what's wrong? What do we need to fix? Okay, so say we move in, we get all this shit set up. What's going to go wrong next?
Exactly. Plumbing, all that. Yeah, absolutely.
100%. And like, I don't know. It used to stress me out, and now it's fun.
Yeah, it's a new problem because I mean, yeah, like you said, it's once the business is going, the airplane's off the tarmac. You kind of look forward to it. Sometimes, I mean, it depends on how bad the turbulence is, but it's those little bumps like, okay, now we're going problem solving. And that's when like you really thrive.
Yeah. And
that's when you really thrive.
I told my guys verbatim, I said, I swear, like the week leading, so this is Thursday, tomorrow, I leave for Mexico. I said that Monday to Wednesday, it's going to be a fucking shit show.
Sure enough, yeah.
Monday was good. And then, like, yeah, everything just fell apart on fucking Tuesday. But hey, guess what? My fucking team came through. We fucking sat down. We made a fucking action. We prioritized and executed. And that's part of, building a great team. And
the team is crucial. And people think that like I don't get me wrong. I love saying like, yeah, I own Shell Shock. Me and Josh own Shell Shock. We built this, but at the same token, it's the team that did this. It's Sarah, it's Tyler, it's Omar, it's Alec, it's Mary Kay, it's Jules, it's fucking Naveed, it's Micah. It's all of our people that have helped us from the ground up, that have built this, that came together during hard times. And there's also been employees that didn't do shit, that we had to fucking cut sling load. It's like, you need to go find a job elsewhere. Like, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
But it's the team. The team has to be the focal point. So when we have, I structure it like the military. Like, me and Josh are the company commander and first sergeant. Then I have my platoon sergeants, and they're running the show. And people talk about, it's kind of like, well, you should feel guilty that you're not in everything. It's like, no, I rely on them. They're doing a damn good job. Because I remember how it was in the military. I fucking hated, because these people are special. I'm not saying that because their moms say that. These people are special. They work in an entrepreneur environment to where they're not in a box. It's like, I want you thinking outside of that. Right. Because when you put them in the box, there's no creativity. And creativity in marketing is fucking, you need that.
Mm-hmm. That's why I hate school.
Yeah.
Like, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right. You're right.
Like, it's like there's no creative thinking, and that's why all the time
there's no fucking rules. Like, stop thinking there's rules, because that's the other thing I hate about some employees. Like, I'm so afraid that he's going to yell at me if I fuck up. It's like, no. Were you trying something new? Yeah. Did it fail? Yeah. Okay. You took a risk. Cool. Didn't work. Now we know better.
Let's look at the analytics, learn from it, and figure out how to make it better. Like, that's literally
And that's why I hate employees that walk on eggshells. And so I had to be very careful not to give the impression that I was going to rip their heads off. It's like, no, I want you to take a gamble, but clear it through your chain of command first, so we know. Otherwise, sometimes we're like, no, I've tried that. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
But it's if employees come in, I also give employees fucking bonuses to where if they bring in something that makes us money, I'm hooking you up.
No,
it's
100%.
like, you help make me money. Fuck yeah, you're going to get a piece of that, because it incentivization is the key to business, to key to happy employees, and incentivize them with knowing you're going to get benefits, you're going to get good pay, get taken care of, but also create a great work environment to where, like, half the time I can't even get these people to go the fuck home. They want to stay. It's like, no, go home. You need to go invest in your personal life.
And that's the same thing. A lot of my guys work remote right now. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'll be like, all right, hey, guys, call it for the day. It's already fucking 7 o'clock. Go eat with your family, your kids, all that kind of shit. And then, like, I'll jump off of, like, a Google Meet call with them. And then, like, 2 hours later, I'll just, like, click back on there. And they're still on that call. And I'll, like, get on there. I'm like, dude, fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, stop working.
Well, there is something there, because, unfortunately, some people will neglect their personal lives. And the personal lives are very important. Like, you got to make sure they have a good home. It's none of my business, but it's like, I don't want you here 24/7. You have to make sure that home life is healthy, because if it's not, it will blend in here. It will come in here.
And like, for our aspects, being the owner, it's a lot different than actually being an employee.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, like, I love saying is, like, there's no such thing as a work-life balance. It's the choices you make and the results you live with. Mm-hmm. What's your opinion on that? Since you're the one who brought up the subject, got to flip the script.
Honestly, I feel like neglecting one can impact the other. Mm-hmm. I think it has to be a healthy balance. But I think also it comes down to where you can either be the type of company that is going to be black and white. If you miss this many days, you're fired.
Right.
But I also feel like in the military, I remember this lesson I was taught, is that every soldier comes with a line of credit. If that kid performs good and he steps on his dick, I'm going to forgive it. I'm going to hold him to a standard, but I'm not going to pin him to the wall for it. If he continues doing it, then I'm going to pin him to the wall for it. But we've had employees that go beyond their paid time off, that go beyond their sick days, but they've also been there after hours for me. Right. So I'm going to cut them a little bit of slack, but also with the understanding of, don't expect this. But being that you fucking stuck your neck out for me and you stayed an extra 30 minutes, not paid, by the way, you said, I'm going to invest back in them because that's the right thing to do. But the problem is when they take advantage of that. Right. So you have to have that healthy balance of, I will give you the leniency when you've earned it, but I will cut your fucking head off when you cross me. Mm-hmm. And that's the dynamic of being a good, effective leader. Because I've had people in this office that disagree with me on that.
Yeah.
They want to coddle, they want to hug. It's like, it's not going to work. And every single time it blows up in their fucking face. I tell them, it's like, you got to be able to flip that switch and be a fucking dickhead. And they have, because there's times, like, people didn't know this, but General Patton would literally practice his salute in the mirror. Because he wanted to look crisp. And sometimes he would have captains staged and he would chew them out for no fucking reason whatsoever. Pull them to the side. It's like, you didn't do anything wrong, but I had to put the fear of God into those motherfuckers to know that if you even cross me, I will fucking chew you up and you're a goddamn captain. Excuse me, Lord. And I was just like, that makes sense. They have to know that you will be fair and balanced, but if they cross you, you'll crucify them. Mm-hmm. And that's a good, healthy relationship. So it's like, people around here, like, they're not afraid of us, but it's like, if you strike me the wrong way, I'll fucking ream you.
Right. And I think that's a good way to balance, like, leadership, as in, because one of the things, like my first ever team leader I had, he straight up was a piece of shit and led by fear.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah,
and yeah, that's nothing. Like whenever we first hired Paul, like I always send like say if we send James a package or something like that with products inside of it, like I always put fucked up shit on his packages.
You've done that to me too.
Yeah, so like we'd have like the 2-inch Punisher, something along those lines, and like Paul was going to do that and then hit up James, and he was like, no, what if Jason gets mad and like fires me? I'm just like, fuck off. Have fun.
Yeah.
Just don't fuck up. And if you do fuck up, let's figure out why you fucked up.
Exactly.
Make sure it doesn't happen again.
But if this is consistently happening, then we have issues.
Yeah. And that's part of it. But I mean, I don't know. That's all like a crazy fun learning curve part of business.
That is the fun part of business. And then when you actually see the success come, and the money start coming in, it's just like, this is, and that's the one thing that pisses me off. We're gonna have to end this really soon though, but people are kind of like, it's like, business isn't based around money. It's like, yes, the fuck it is.
That's why
you
started business.
Why did you go into business to be broke? Did you invest to be broke? Did you invest and take on debt to be fucking no? That's that altruistic bullshit feel good. These idiots out there that are already successful are going to tell you that. Mm-hmm. It's like, money doesn't buy you happiness. You said that from your fucking yacht. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. It's like, yes, it does help. It's not everything. Don't get me wrong, but it certainly helps alleviate a lot of stress. It really does.
It does. But to question you, like, a lot of times, like, we'll hit a successful point, and like for me, I'm just like, once we hit that, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, you can't focus on it. You can't. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so we enjoy it some, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, all right, cool. Now we gotta go to the next thing.
Yeah. We're almost done. I know your camera crapped out. It's all right. We're almost done. But and no, I agree. You can't dwell on the successes too long. It's like, celebrate for a little bit, but then move on to the next one. Because if you do dwell on, that's where I feel like a lot of veterans, they cannot get out of that veteran mindset of the military, because it was easy. Mm-hmm. You're told where to go, where to be, what to do, what to think, what to feel, what to eat, what to wear.
Get paid on the 1st and 15th.
Get paid on the 1st and 15th, 100%.
Job security.
But it's like, when you focus on those things and you never moved on beyond that, you're going to dwell in that. You're going to dwell in the past. You can't. It's just a matter of like, people say, what's the proudest moment of your life? I was like, the next one. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't think about it. There's no point. Like, I'm proud of what we've done here. It's like, but what's the next goal? What's the next mountain to climb? Mm-hmm. And because, like you said, like,
you have to close the chapter of that.
Very well said.
That's one of the hardest things that I try and instill in veterans, is like, as soon as you take a step back and look what you did, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, you have to continue writing the next chapter.
Yes. I love that. That's a very good, why are you writing the next chapter? I'm going to make that an Instagram post.
There you go. Like, that should be your why. I mean, I don't know. It's I just talked to a bunch of guys in Tennessee, and like, one of my whys is like, I have a photo of Arlington National Cemetery inside my office. And like, if that's not enough of a why, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent 4 years of my life in Arlington National Cemetery. Like that there's a lot of headstones that give you a why to do it every single day.
Absolutely.
So yeah, not to end this on a little
No, it's a great note. But all right, they can find you at grillyourassoff.com. Mm-hmm. They can also find you on social media such as Facebook, Instagram. They can check out your Facebook group, and all that's via the website, correct?
Yeah, everything's linked on the website, or if you are on any social media platform, just type in Grill Your Ass Off, and we're there. We have a bunch of inappropriate and appropriate meat photos. So
there you go. Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now. Your website's very easy to use, very simplistic. People always want to complicate the shit out of it. It's like, no, you got to make it. It's the whole keep it simple, stupid. Yep. You have a very good job here. It's very simplistic. And this is a multi-million-dollar business you're running. And look at this website. It does not look like something that's going to be like, fucking boom. It's like, nope. It's simple. Yeah. It's crisp. It's to the point. You see where everything's at. It's very easily laid out. You've kept it simple, and it's fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant.
Hey, no offense to customers, but customers are stupid.
No, you're right. You have to treat them in the sense of
guide them, hold their hand.
To get, yes, 100%.
And then provide value with that, and then you create a customer for life.
Well, brother, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show today and instilling and imparting all your wisdom, because, again, you've helped me scale. You've done insane things for yourself. You built this from the ground up, and you've got a lot to be fucking proud of.
Yeah. And I agree. I greatly appreciate you having me on here. If no one, I know not to suck on John's dick or anything like that.
Oh, feel free.
But,
Absolutely. It's been a minute. It's been at least 3 or 4 days.
Whenever I started Grill Your Ass Off, that was like back whenever Instagram and Facebook was actually good for optimizing shit.
Yeah.
So I'd actually written down a bunch of names of military influencers on a dry erase board. And I was like, hey, you know what? The next morning I'm going to reach out to all these people. And the top name on that dry erase board was actually John Burke. And I woke up the next morning and there's a DM from John Burke in the Grill Your Ass Off account. And he's like, hey, I heard your shit's good. I'm going to buy it. If I like it, I'll shout you out. If not, I'm going to throw it away. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, hey, dude, just send me your address. I'll send you some for free. You're like, no, fuck you. I'll pay for it. Before I could even respond back to you and say like, here's a discount code, you paid for it full price. You fucking gave me an honest review after you tried it. And then ever since then, like me and you have been friends and like you've been 100% transparent and truthful with everything. And I'm grateful for our friendship and I'm more than, stoked for you and proud of where your business has been. So
it's been those investments in personal relationships that's actually helped me get to this point. Like I'm not joking when I tell you, Jason came in here and doubled our fucking profits overnight. And it was the belief in him when he was launching his company. Because you were already ahead of the game. Like you were already way ahead of me. I was just an influencer. You were launching it. So it was like you were doing what I was wanting to do. I was jealous, but at the same time, I was like, I'm going to watch these motherfuckers because they're doing it the right way. Mm-hmm. And no, man, it's just been inspiring to see where you've come from and what you're doing and then where you're going to continue going.
Yep.
It's great to see that. But again, they can find you at grillyourassoff.com. Check it out. You got a lot of great seasonings on there. And the Fire Chief hot sauce is currently on there. This is actually really good. I do like it.
Thank you.
My favorite, though, was the salt. It's the whiskey salt. I put that on everything. I put it in my stews. I put it on my steak. I love it. It tastes so, and then the black cherry one is good too.
It's great. It's a game changer for anyone who can't actually smoke their meat or what they're doing. You can add that to it, and it not only smells amazing, it tastes that same smokiness to it. So, it's a great product, and we got a lot of other cool stuff out there coming out all the time. So go check it out.
This episode is brought to you by grillyourassoff.com. Code Burke. I don't know if it saves you anything, but go support a veteran-owned company. This guy does a very damn good job. Jason, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.